Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto gets cheated on and becomes cold. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Katy Muhle and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Sakura was a 25-year-old lawyer, a very successful lawyer in fact. She was praised for her critical and precise effort in the line of duty. She never enjoyed being a defendant attorney of a convicted criminal because it was always harder to reiterate their innocence to the people who were affected by their crimes, but she wasn't known for being the best for nothing. She much preferred to be the prosecutor, however. It did her confidence and ego a world of good to be able to see the looks of despair and hopelessness on the charged. She didn't think of herself as a cocky person, assertive and sure, yes, but not cocky. Yeah, even she knew there was a fine line between those aspects of her personality. She could concede that in some cases she would let her ego get the best of her. But that all came with being so good with what she did. She was married, happily in fact, to Naruto Uzumaki, successful architect. He was such a good person and a loving husband. He looked out for her interests, made sure to be attentive, and listened to all her problems when need came. Sakura had to admit she was a lucky woman. It wasn't always that way. They knew each other since high school. She was always made fun of about her forehead, but Naruto was the only person who pointed out the beauty in her flaw. They were never that close, however. She always sought the attention of the heartthrob Sasuke Uchiha. He was every female's dream, handsome, mysterious, rich. Did she mention handsome? She was hopelessly head over heels in love with the Uchiha. She had done everything against the competition for Sasuke's attention, showing him her constant intentions, her need for him to be with her, and no one else, all which ended in failure. Sasuke wasn't the type of person to visibly acknowledge a female's attention, especially people he considered fangirls. Naruto, however, persisted for her affection, even when she had rebuffed him quite a number of times. Couldn't Naruto take a hint? Well, obviously he couldn't. The rejections only seemed to cement his resolve to have her, to love her. She had always loved Sasuke, up to the point that she was willing to go with him when he left Konoha High just a year after he started there. It took a long time for her to stop crying. It took an even longer time for her to finally give Naruto a chance. It started out with little dates, and it soon developed into a solid relationship, where love was truly the founding factor. They kissed, they hugged, they made love, passionate love, on her 18th birthday. From there onwards he was her everything, her foundation, her pillar of strength. He was the only man she would die to protect. She also made sure to let him, or any girl in his vicinity, know that he was hers and hers alone. There would be fatal repercussions for any bitch who would try to steal her man. Naruto didn't mind, however. He wasn't the sort of person to have an affair on his wife. They fought sometimes, mostly on her part, on money issues and suspicion of infidelity. Even though they both had very stable jobs and Naruto was faithful to no fault, and she'd often said hurtful words to him. Naruto grew up as an orphan, something that was still a delicate subject for him. She would often bring that subject in their argument, and then profusely apologize after. He would always forgive her and blame their heated conversations on stress or just a bad day. Naruto treated her like a queen, bless his soul. They didn't have children yet. Even if Naruto thought that they were ready, Sakura was still uncertain. Naruto understood, of course, and gave her time to come to a decision. Life seemed good for her. A loving husband, healthy environment, and a great job. That should have been enough for her. Sakura knew she didn't need anything else, but contentment was never a definite or permanent part of life. Their sex life was amazing. Words couldn't describe how he made her feel. He was truly the man of her dreams, but she found herself lacking something. It was something that she'd always valued when she was young, with no attachments, freedom. The ability to do what she wanted, when she wanted. Nothing serious, just a little more room for the other. Naruto agreed without a second thought. Her life was so perfect. It seemed like everything was looking up for her. That was until that day. Anko, a friend and fellow co-worker, was transferred to a different branch of the company in exchange for someone else. Sakura wasn't happy about it, but when she saw who Anko's replacement was, that's when she became conflicted. At first she didn't know who he was, but he looked familiar. Her heart had skipped a beat when he had introduced himself as Uchiha Sasuke. That's when she remembered him in high school. She had put those past thoughts aside to show Sasuke where he would be working. He was new and needed a tour. They talked and got to know each other. He had become a very good defense attorney, going so far as to have only lost one of his cases. Needless to say, Sakura was impressed with how far Sasuke had come. He was still as mysterious as ever, that cool Uchiha demeanor that had women swooning. Dare she say, he affected her as well. Over time she would find him trying to spend as much time with her as possible, even if nothing much was said, and she would find herself anticipating those times. She would always catch the glances he sent when they would pass each other or when they were debriefed on cases by Ms. Senju. She would seek out his gaze often, looking into his onyx eyes and seeing the burning desire. She should have been disgusted in it, but she wasn't. It started off as simple talk, but turned flirtatious in a few weeks. The experience had awoken her excitement and sex appeal. They would tease each other playfully a few times, her more than him, and continued with their duties. She found herself longing to see him every time she came home. The experience was exciting and very different from her everyday lifestyle that she found herself welcoming it wholeheartedly. It didn't take long for those flirtatious jabs to turn into want and need. She knew she still had a crush on him. She never had closure when he left high school so suddenly. She wasn't surprised to know that those feelings of infatuation hadn't ceased. She dared not voice any of it to Naruto. The tension between Sasuke and her had become thick over time, and it didn't take long for them to break the unbearable obstacle. She found herself lusting after him. For something alien, he had the same thoughts. The night she spent at his house, discussing a case, that's when things escalated. They couldn't get their hands off each other. They had rough, hungry sex, like they were starved for days. They had sex the whole night, in every room, using every position. Sakura had never been so out of breath in her entire life. When they had finished, she felt guilty. It was never supposed to end up like this, having sex with another lover while she was married. She numbed all the thoughts so she wouldn't lose control of her emotions. She left Sasuke's house without a word. Naruto was none the wiser. He never suspected any infidelity from her, and for a moment she felt her heart ache for what she had done. The next time she saw Sasuke, they had hardly talked, hardly said a word. She was keeping to her duties and he was keeping to his. He tried to talk to her alone, in his office, but she rejected all his attempts. Then they started to argue. She tried her best to control her urges and stick to anger. She was infatuated with the Uchiha, but she didn't love him like in high school. But when he had forced himself on her, grabbing her, bending her over his desk and pounding the life out of her, she found herself screaming for more. She was so lucky that the office was soundproof. Over time the affair had continued in an almost casual manner. When she had an itch, she would come to him, and he would satisfy her urges and fantasies. It wasn't the same with Naruto. They had sex out of love. This was just casual sex, to heighten fantasy. Her guilt had slowly receded over time, but it was always there. The affair had been going on for about 3 weeks. Sakura had convinced herself to keep the relationship with Sasuke a secret. She loved Naruto, and she didn't want him to go through all the pain. Besides, what he didn't know wouldn't hurt him. People had become suspicious of her and Sasuke's relationship. Some of Naruto's friends, who worked with her, had warned Naruto of the possible infidelity being acted out, but the blonde would always vehemently deny it. Naruto always got angry when someone accused his wife of cheating. However, Shikamaru was very perceptive to matters. He could see right through her. It would not take long for Naruto to doubt her as well. She hoped it never came to that. It took some time, a long time, but she had finally come to terms with her mistake. It was funny, she came to realize her betrayal while she was in the arms of another man. Naruto loved her, she meant everything to him. What she had done was a betrayal of trust. She had broken her vows. She had committed adultery, and the revelation had hit her like a ton of bricks. All the repressed feelings and pent-up emotions on the subject had finally gotten through to her. She cried hard, in the arms of another man. She always loved Naruto. That notion would never change, and he had always been faithful to her, even when she had accused him otherwise. How could she do this to the man she loved with all her heart? Stab him in the back? Sasuke had tried to comfort her, but she had angrily pulled away. She left his house in a hurry, not before telling him that this would never happen again. She had lied to Naruto when she came home, telling him of a late meeting. He believed her like he always did. She had to fight back the tears when he looked at her with those loving azure irises. Shikamaru had become even more suspicious of her, taking note of her refusal to have conversation with Sasuke. She didn't care anymore. The guilt had been gnawing at her, tearing her apart, and she knew as a wife she had to own up and be honest to her husband. If she didn't do it soon, then Shikamaru would do it for her. She knew he knew. He was the only person that Naruto truly listened to. If that were to happen, then the hatred Naruto would feel towards her when he found the claim to be true would be 10 times worse than if she confessed herself. She had dreaded the day that came for confessing, but she did the deed and had to face the consequences. She knew that if she kept this secret any longer, then it could be a disastrous future for them. The clever thing to do would be to keep this secret until her grave, but the right thing to do would be to let him know of her stupid, horrible mistakes. She just loved him too much. She had told him to take a seat on the living room couch. She had told him to wait until she had said what was needed to be said. He had looked at her confusedly but complied, even going as far as to try and ease her nervousness. She knew right then and there that she didn't deserve him. She started off nervously and meekly, but as the explanation continued, and the hurt and anger in his eyes started to show, she forced herself to be strong and tell him the truth with no pause. She didn't deserve to act like a victim. She didn't deserve mercy. Naruto had listened to what she had said from the beginning to the end without saying a word. The heartbreak was indescribable. It was as if someone was stabbing his chest over and over again. He was angry, furious, hurt, confused. He felt many things and he tried his best to dull his burning anger. How long? Sakura could tell he was holding himself back from lashing out, and she felt like crying, not for herself, but for him. She knew not to give too much detail on the subject. It would only make things worse. 3 weeks, she whispered. Naruto nodded in understanding. His friends were actually right. He didn't know what to feel about it all. He was still in a state of shock. His eyes pierced right into hers. Why? It was a simple question, But under these circumstances it could possibly mean a death sentence. Sakura had to be very careful with how she answered. It wasn't your fault. You are always supporty. Why? Damn it, she couldn't sugarcoat her way out of it. It just happened. It was a mistake, Naruto, Sakura said softly as she stared at the ground. She was surprised when she heard him laugh. It sounded so hollow and empty. A mistake? Sex is a choice, Sakura. You chose to do it. You knew full well what you were doing when you were fucking him. Naruto screamed in rage. Sakura flinched. She had rarely seen this side of him before, and it was never directed at her. Why? He repeated gratingly. Sakura bit her lip and looked anywhere but her husband. Tell me the truth. I had a crush on him before we got married. I just wanted closure. To live my life without any what-ifs. It meant nothing to me, Naruto, I swear. Sakura pleaded. So, that's how you tell me you don't love me? By sleeping with someone else? Naruto shouted. Sakura looked at him with guilt and sorrow. I do love you, Naruto. I'm in love with you. Shut the fuck up. How dare you say that? After what you did, you have the audacity to tell me that? Naruto spat. Sakura couldn't retort to his words. He never deserved something like this in the first place. 3 weeks. How dare you? Tears started flowing down his face. Sakura made to console him, but she was stopped when he glared at her with rage. Don't you fucking come closer, bitch. The amount of hatred truly shocked her to the core. Naruto promptly left the house, banging the door on his way out. Sakura fell to her knees and wailed in despair. She felt like scum. There wasn't anything else to describe the feeling. The self-loathing, disgust, and regret were eating at her very psyche. The tears flowed with a vengeance. She had ultimately ruined her marriage and lost the trust of the man she loved. Suicidal thoughts flooded her mind, but she knew that it would be a coward's way out. Her eyes were glazed and unfocused as she skimmed through her wedding album. She was in the bedroom waiting for Naruto to return. She wanted to beg him not to throw their marriage away. She wanted to plead with him to give her another chance. She didn't deserve his forgiveness, but she wanted to show him how truly sorry she was for everything. She wanted to fight for their love and marriage. Without him in her life, then she didn't have a reason to live. She heard the front door open and she knew he was home. He immediately came into the room and went straight to the closet. He took out a huge travel bag and started putting clothes in it. Her sense of dread increased tenfold. Where are you going? She whimpered sorrowfully in fear. He just glanced at her and continued to pack. Sakura was panicking at this point. Worst-case scenarios were plaguing her mind. She didn't want him out of her life. It would be too hard to bear. Please tell me. She looked absolutely pitiful, but Naruto was not in the least sympathetic. I'm going into a hotel for the night. Don't try to follow me. Don't try to call me. Oh, and you can go fuck that guy whenever you want now, Naruto sneered venomously. Sakura felt like she'd been punched. She didn't like this side of Naruto, but there wasn't anything she could do. I'm sorry, she whispered. Naruto only quickened his packing and then left the house without a word. Sakura felt alone again. She felt like a decaying corpse, no other purpose but to just wither away. Her emotions were a mess and she could do nothing but cry in sorrow for her acts. Her life and everything she cherished was crumbling before her eyes. She needed him so badly. The marriage they shared meant more to her than people thought. She valued Naruto's blatant trust in her, and the pure unadulterated love he had for her. Now he would never trust her again, and would be more suspicious of her, that is if he still wanted to be married to her. That thought alone made her want to kill herself. She was getting hysterical. If he divorced her, then it would be the end of their love, which she could not compare to anything she has ever felt before. The only thing that was keeping them connected right now was a piece of paper. God, she needed him. He was her pillar. She wanted to beg him to do anything he wanted to her, beat her, fuck her, anything that would make him feel better, but he wasn't here. She messed up so badly. She knew she deserved this, but in some ways it still felt unfair to her. She was honest with him. The least he could have done was appreciate it. What the hell am I thinking? She choked out. Had she always been this selfish? Only looking at her own interests and desires while disregarding Naruto's? She didn't want to know the answer. She felt like absolute crap. Her body kept trembling from the constant sobs. She couldn't think straight because the only thing on her mind was the love of her life. She just continued to cry until sleep claimed her. Anko always prided herself in her good looks and rocking body. It was rare to see someone as spunky and fun as her in-law. Lawyers were really stiff people. She was also glad that she had made good friends along the way. Sakura was the first person Anko would go to in a crisis. They were closer than anyone. Sakura was her best friend. No one else could compete. And in knowing Sakura so closely, it allowed her to get to know Naruto as well. They were a cute couple, if she had to be honest. Anko could see from the very start that they loved each other. She got to know Naruto personally, and they ended up becoming friends as well, not as close as her and Sakura, but still friends nonetheless. When she had left the branch she shared with Sakura, she was upset, but they did keep in contact. She hadn't seen Sakura in over a month, and she was dying to tell her some wonderful news. She knew where they lived. It looked exactly how it did when she last came here. She had to admit, it was a really big house. She could never get tired of looking at the detail, the effort that was made in making the house stand out from the rest. They were a lucky couple indeed. She approached the door and knocked 3 times. Nothing happened. Usually she would have heard feet shuffling, but there was nothing. She knocked again, and it was still the same result. Naruto! Sakura! Anko called. Maybe they weren't home? She should have called Sakura before she came over, but she had forgotten. She was confused, however. It was a Saturday. Didn't that mean they would be home resting after a busy week? She knew full well that their jobs were quite demanding. Maybe they decided to go somewhere together, she mused. It wouldn't be the first time. Naruto was a hopeless romantic. She was about to leave until she heard something clank on the inside. Someone was definitely in there. She knocked harder. If you think I'm going to leave after hours of driving here, then you got another thing coming. I don't care if you're naked, open the damn door. Anko shouted. Nothing happened. Anko gave off a frustrated sigh and tried to open the door herself, which worked. The door wasn't even locked, and that sent alarm bells ringing in Anko's head. Was there a thief in the house? If that was the case, then they picked the wrong day to rob somebody. She shifted through her purse and pulled out a gun. She slowly made her way inside and took in the scenery. It seemed like a thief was here. The place was an absolute mess. She heard the TV in the living room and approached cautiously. She could see a mop of pink hair at the couch, and that sent her into bewilderment. Sakura? Anko called softly while looking around for any signs of criminal activity. There was no response, and Anko was starting to fear the worst. She quickly approached the figure and was surprised to see that it was indeed Sakura, watching TV. Thank God you're all right. What happened here? Were you robbed? Anko asked frantically. Sakura just continued to stare at the TV, and Anko noticed a large tub of ice cream on the girl's lap. Sakura! Damn it, what happened? Anko asked. Sakura just continued to watch TV and occasionally ate some ice cream. She didn't give any indication to be aware of Anko's presence. Anko took in her disallowed form, and her fears only increased. She put her gun away and then grabbed Sakura's shoulders, forcing the girl to look at her. Sakura? She called softly. Sakura's eyes weren't even focused on her. She looked straight through Anko as if she wasn't there. Anko was getting scared now. Sakura really looked out of it. She did the only thing she could. She slapped Sakura on the face. It did some good, for the girl actually looked at her. Sakura, what happened? Anko asked tentatively. Sakura looked at her indifferently, and then started to cry. Anko quickly hugged her and tried to console her. Shhhh, it's okay, Anko cooed. Sakura cried on her shoulder. Heart-wrenching sobs shook her body. Anko was beyond worried. She also took note that Naruto was nowhere in sight. Where's Naruto? Anko asked, and then mentally kicked herself when Sakura only cried harder. Naruto was at the local gym with Shikamaru and Kiba, who was a fellow architect and friend. It was a place they usually came to on Saturdays, but they would always come together. Naruto had come alone at first, and that's where they found him, beating a punching bag. Kiba had looked at Shikamaru confusedly, but Shikamaru had just gone to Naruto and held the punching bag while the blonde continued his assault. They had not said a word in a few minutes, but Kiba wanted answers. Hey man, we tried to get in touch with you, but you didn't even pick up your phone. Now all of a sudden we find you here of all places? What the hell, man? We all agreed to come together, Kiba said sternly. It was a stupid agreement, but Kiba was worried why Naruto would do this when he had made the suggestion himself. Just felt like pow. Pow, getting a head start. Naruto said seriously as he continued to pound the punching bag. Shikamaru continued to hold the punching bag without a word. Well, you should tell us next time, Kiba muttered. Naruto nodded and kept punching. Kiba decided to go and lift some weights and scout for girls, so he promptly left the pair. Shikamaru took that moment to speak. Where were you last night? Why are you asking? Naruto asked as he continued to punch. I called your cell and home number. Neither were answered, Shikamaru said with a yawn. Well, I decided not to answer, Naruto bit out. So why didn't Sakura answer the home call? Shikamaru felt the air knocked out of him with how hard Naruto punched the bag as soon as he heard Sakura's name. I don't know. Naruto was trying to avoid the subject, but Shikamaru's face was giving him a bad feeling. Be honest, where were you? Shikamaru asked again. At a hotel. Naruto jabbed the bag. With Sakura? Shikamaru asked carefully, and then mentally sighed when he saw Naruto scowl. No, Naruto said curtly. We need to talk, Naruto. Shikamaru was rarely serious, so Naruto knew not to deny his friend's request. They both went to the training mats and sat cross-legged. What happened between you and Sakura? Shikamaru decided to get right to the point. There was no use in being subtle when Naruto was obviously upset. Nothing. Naruto looked down. After taking out all his anger on the bag, he was physically and emotionally exhausted. Don't lie to me, man. I could see you putting a lot of effort in hitting the punching bag, especially when you heard Sakura's name. Sometimes Naruto hated how smart and alert Shikamaru was. I don't want to talk about it, Naruto said as he looked away from his friend. Sometimes we think that's what we need, that not talking about our problems will give us a sort of comfort from harsh reality. It is never a good idea to bottle it up. We've been friends for a long time, you know I'm there for you. So do yourself a favor and use my company to your advantage, Shikamaru said. Naruto swallowed the lump in his throat. It was hard for him to relive the horrific event. You guys were right, Naruto forced out. Shikamaru didn't need any clarification to know what he was talking about. I see, how do you feel about it? Naruto looked at Shikamaru weirdly. It was kind of awkward to talk about the subject, but Shikamaru had never asked him on feelings before. Dude, why the hell are you asking me about my feelings? Naruto asked incredulously. Remember when I told you I had another job before I was involved in law? Shikamaru asked. Yeah, Naruto said. Well, I was a marriage therapist, so I've pretty much seen the worst side to a marriage, Shikamaru said. Naruto looked at him warily. He was surprised about that, but he didn't know if he was ready to tell his tale. Trust me, Naruto, you need to let it all out. Keeping it inside isn't going to help you at all. It will affect your lifestyle, how you treat your friends, and that is not good, Shikamaru said seriously. Naruto looked at Shikamaru for a long time, and then nodded his head. I feel hurt, you know. I'm always a good husband, making sure she always felt loved. I went out of my way to treat her like she was the center of the universe. I always stayed faithful, even when so many women tried to gain my affection. I'm angry too. What did I do to deserve this? What did I do wrong? How could she do this to me, knowing that it would hurt me? That bitch. After everything we've been through? After everything I've done for her, this is how she repays me? Naruto spat in anger. Shikamaru quickly looked around to make sure that no one was listening to their conversation. When he was sure of their confidentiality, he continued, First off, don't blame yourself. Sakura was the one to commit the act. She betrayed me. She disregarded my feelings completely. She disrespected our marriage, Naruto rasped out as he struggled with his emotions. So what are you going to do about it? Shikamaru asked. Divorce was the first thing that came to mind. It would only be fair to him. Cut all connection he ever had with her, but it was very difficult to convince himself that it was the right idea. She was the love of his life. They had been through so much, and the turmoil of emotions were not helping either. He hated her with a passion, but he still loved her. I don't know, Naruto said in frustration. Do you love her? Shikamaru asked. We've been through so much, Shikamaru, Naruto whispered wearily. Did she confess to you herself? Yes. Does she regret what she had done? I'm not sure. She cried, but I can't be certain what she was crying about. Well, I can only tell you this. If you choose to end the marriage, then that is your decision, and no one else can fault you for it. But if you choose to fight for your marriage, then I can assure you that it will be a huge emotional struggle, but I've seen a lot of couples pull through. The power is all in your hands. She has no say in your choice, Shikamaru said. I want to hurt her, like she hurt me. I want to make her suffer, Naruto said angrily. Like I said, it's your choice, but don't make any hasty decisions. Do you feel better now? Not really, but thanks anyway. It's troublesome, but worth it. Anko had taken off her suite and had put on one of Sakura's pajamas. It was a bit tight on the chest area, but she didn't mind. She had to force Sakura to clean the place, but it was worth it. It was late at night now and they were both huddled on the couch, watching the talk show, Dr. Inoichi. Anko had wondered why Sakura refused to watch anything else, like her favorite chick flicks, but she wasn't going to pry on it. She had not asked Sakura anything the entire day because she wanted the girl to calm down before the questions came. Sakura had not taken her eyes away from the television screen. Dr. Inoichi had been talking about relationships and their trials. Her emotions were numb except for that of regret. She hadn't said a thing to Anko out of fear that she would lose her friend as well. She appreciated Anko staying to make sure that she was alright, but the little comfort paled in comparison to the guilt she was feeling. She was watching Dr. Inoichi carefully, looking for any sign of help in her dilemma. She did not want this marriage to end. She did not want to lose Naruto. She didn't care if he never trusted her again. She didn't care if he lashed out on her. She didn't care if he beat her. She loved him. By God, she loved him with all her heart. She was desperate for advice in fixing her mistakes, but the more she watched Dr. Inoichi, the more she realized that it wasn't her choice to make. She did not have a say in their future anymore. It was all up to Naruto. She felt like crying out in pure frustration. Anko saw the look and decided that now was as good a time as any to start. Sweetie? Do you want to talk about it now? Anko asked tentatively. Sakura shook her head furiously. Anko sighed and decided to watch Dr. Inoichi. In life. Our next guests are a couple who have suffered from hurt and betrayal in their married lives, but through perseverance and the undying love they shared towards each other, they were able to overcome the difficult times. Please welcome Saya and Kato Nakatane. Anko saw Sakura perk up as soon as she heard what Dr. Inoichi said. Alarm bells were ringing in her head. Just what the hell happened to Sakura and where was Naruto? I'd like to first thank you for coming on the show. I know it wasn't an easy decision, Dr. Inoichi said. Thank you for having us, doctor. And yes, it was a hard decision, Saya laughed, most probably to break the tension. So, a lot of couples go through infidelity. The hurt, anger, and resentment that is felt by the cheated spouse is always difficult to deal with. The guilt and remorse felt by the spouse who committed the act is also nothing to laugh at. I called Kato and Saya here so we can hear their story, and possibly use that to help us in the future. Who would like to start? Inoichi asked the couple. I'm not sure myself. Kato laughed nervously and the crowd joined him. Haha, it's okay, It's a very difficult subject to bring up, Inoichi supported. May I? Saya asked her lover gently. She received a nod from her husband. We are happily married now, even in the beginning. We were very much in love with each other. He would do things for me, I would do things for him, just to make sure we showed our love for one another. The second year of our marriage was quite difficult. We had arguments frequently. He would accuse me of cheating and I would do the same. It wasn't always the main topic, but it was the most frequent. I had a lot of friends, guys and girls, and we would always go to parties and enjoy ourselves. One night my husband and I had a fight and I left with my friends to go to a party. I was young, immature, attractive. I would never let anyone know that I was married because I enjoyed the freedom. I would flirt with a lot of men, but that one night was when I made the worst choice of my life. Saya had to pause to hold her husband's hand tightly. He returned the gesture. There was this cute guy at the party and I felt adventurous. We slept together. I didn't tell my husband for a long time, but he was still very suspicious. Our marriage had become strained. The guilt affected me so much that I found it hard to focus on anything. I can assure you that keeping it a secret can tear you apart, especially if you truly love the person. I eventually told him. Saya took a glance at her husband, who just smiled at her. Our marriage almost ended in a divorce. I was angry at her for what she did. I even contemplated getting revenge by sleeping with another woman, but that would have only made things worse. I was a wreck. Saya looked at Kato remorsefully, but he continued. I didn't know what to do. I felt like absolute crap. I avoided anyone who would try to help me and I tried my best to stay away from Saya, Kato said. Sakura had to force the tears back. She felt sorry for the man, but she felt absolutely disgusted in herself for what she did to Naruto. Anko was starting to become even more suspicious the more she saw Sakura struggle to remain calm. It gave me time to think, I guess. I knew that I couldn't bottle up these feelings or it would affect me both physically and emotionally, so I started to exercise, making sure to take care of myself. I knew that there was no escaping it, so I went to see Saya again. She apologized over and over again, promising to be faithful, promising to do anything for a second chance. It took a while, but I decided to at least give it a try. I loved her, even if I did resent her at the time. Kato said sadly. Saya decided to continue. He never put his trust in me again. If I told him that I was going out with friends, he would just look at me and say nothing. I stopped partying completely when I realized that I was only giving him more incentive not to trust me. I did everything to make sure that he knew that I was truly sorry. I tended to his needs, allowed him his freedom. I no longer felt like an equal in the marriage. Inoichi nodded in understanding. Even after all the effort I put into fixing things, the fights never stopped, and they were even more hurtful because of the past. If it escalated too much, then he would bring up the incident, and I would feel too guilty to reply. If I ever did anything that did not fit well with him, then he would bring up the past again, and I would feel so much disgust in myself that it made me sick. Inoichi handed her a box of tissues to wipe the tears. Kato chose that time continue. After some time, I realized my mistakes. I was acting out selfishly, using the incident as ammunition for when we had disagreements. I realized that if we ever wanted this marriage to work, then we had to deal with it as adults. We talked to each other. She told me about the incident. As per my request, not too much detail, but enough to make out a picture. I told her how I felt about it. She understood how much her actions hurt me, and promised never to do it again. That was our turning point, Kato said with a smile. We started taking precaution to make sure that the marriage worked. I would tell him where I would be and what I would be doing when I went out. If I was ever going to be late, then I would let him know immediately. If we had any problems with each other, then we had to let the other know. There are no more secrets between us. He knows everything about me. He started giving me a little more space, and he started to show signs that he truly did love me. Over time we were able to work through our problems and past. When he finally forgave me, that was when I realized that I never want him out of my life, and I will love him till the end of time. I was truly sorry for my actions, and I will never betray him again. I thank him every time I can for giving me a second chance. Saya finished lovingly. I'm happy for you both. Is there anything you want to tell the audience that might be dealing with this sort of issue? Inoichi asked. It's hard to keep a marriage together after someone cheats on you. Even if you decide to give it a chance, it's still hard to maintain. The past will always be a part of you. Even if I had forgiven Saya, I can never forget what she had done. It's something we have to live with. In the end, however, it will make you stronger and more understanding of your spouse. Marriage is serious and must not be taken lightly. Kato said. Truly wise words indeed. I thank you again for coming on the show and I wish your future well, Inoichi said. Thank you, doctor, both Saya and Kato said. They soon left the area. Inoichi turned to the audience and started. Relationships are one of the most cherished things that we can have, but sometimes they are difficult to maintain. Marriage is not just a choice, it's a commitment. If you choose to cheat on someone, then you should realize that it's no one else's fault but your own. It isn't the end of the world, however. If you truly love your spouse, and your spouse truly loves you, then your relationship can be saved. It mostly depends on the cheated spouse's choice, but the spouse who committed the act has to prove that he or she is regretful for their actions as well. It isn't an easy road, but the end result will help benefit both involved. Until next time, This is Dr. Inoichi, signing out. The program ended. I cheated on Naruto, Sakura said after a pause. Well, I kind of got something along those lines from watching the episode, Anko muttered. Oh God, Sakura whimpered. Why? Anko asked. Sakura's mouth formed a thin line. She really didn't want to answer that one. How did he find out? Anko settled for knowing how the damage had been done. It made more sense why Naruto wasn't here now. He found out. Anko raised an eyebrow at the nervous woman. I told him, Sakura replied. Wow, kind of brave of you, Anko said in surprise. Most people would keep their cheating a secret. I'm such a horrible person, Anko. I don't deserve him. Sakura sobbed. I don't really know what to say, Sakura, Anko said with a frown. Please don't leave me. Sakura cried. I'm not going anywhere, sweetie, especially not now. I can't say I approve of what you did, but I'm guessing you feel bad for it, Anko said softly. Yes, Sakura rasped. Then now isn't the time to scold you for being so stupid. I'll do that tomorrow, Anko said with a grin. Sakura looked at Anko with teary eyes. Why would you stick around me? Simple, you're my best friend. No one ever said that life was straight and narrow. You made a stupid decision, but I'm not going to turn my back on you when it's plain obvious that you're sorry for it, Anko said. But other Pio, to hell with what anyone thinks of me. You already know that I don't give a shit what people say, Anko said. Thanks, Sakura whispered. Oh, don't be thanking me yet. I'm still upset with you for what you did to that poor man. Where is he anyway? Anko asked. A hotel, he left yesterday, Sakura said sadly. Good lord, Sakura, Anko shook her head. Sakura grimaced and looked down. What will you do when you see him again? Trust me, you will see him again, Anko asked seriously. I'll beg to take me back, Sakura said with conviction. And if he doesn't want to? Anko asked. I don't know. Sakura choked out. Anko sighed. She kind of felt sorry for the girl. I need him, Anko. I can't live without him, Sakura said. Like that doctor said, it's Naruto's choice to make, Anko said seriously. Sakura said nothing and looked down. She understood, of course. She lost all right as soon as she cheated on him. Come on, it's late and you need sleep, seriously, Anko said as she led the distraught woman to her room. Are you going home now? She sounded so desperate that Anko grimaced. No, you and I are having a sleepover, Anko stated and then closed the door to the room. It was a very rough night for Anko. She had no qualms with helping a friend in need, but Sakura was truly a handful when she was depressed. The moment they had walked into her room, in order to sleep, Sakura whimpered like a puppy. When Anko had looked at what the problem was, she saw Sakura looking at the bed. Sakura had cringed and looked away like she had seen something shameful. Anko realized something alarming. The bed reminded Sakura of her betrayal, even though the girl had never slept with anyone but Naruto on it. She had asked who the person was that Sakura had an affair with, and she had received her answer. Uchiha Sasuke. If she ever saw that man, she would make him suffer. It would be difficult, but she would at least try. Sakura had refused to sleep at first, claiming that she didn't deserve to rest while Naruto was out there. Now Anko could understand that her friend was distressed, but it held no excuse in not sleeping, so she had to force Sakura to bed, albeit with difficulty. All seemed well until Sakura started to cry again, labeling herself as filth, and begging for Naruto to give her another chance. Said blonde was nowhere in sight. Anko had decided that the only way to calm Sakura down was to talk about the issue and let the girl voice her emotions. It took a while, but she had finally been able to help Sakura vent her anger and self-loathing through colorful words, until the girl exhausted herself. Even as she slept, Sakura still cried, tossing and turning, whimpering. Anko hardly slept, but she was more concerned about her pink-haired friend. Sakura seemed so defeated, even in her unconsciousness. When morning came, she saw that Sakura had become a little better. Anko deduced that it was from all the venting from yesterday. They were both having a silent breakfast. Anko looked at the clock and realized that she would need to leave in about 30 minutes, but she was scared of doing so. Sakura would be alone again, and Anko knew full well that the girl didn't need to feel like she was unwanted. She decided to spend her last moments in light conversation. Oh, I forget to tell you about the reason I came here in the first place, Anko chirped. She needed to do anything to get rid of the depressing atmosphere. Sakura was playing with her food, circling the spoon in her cereal. When she heard what Anko said, she only gave off an uncommitted hum. Well, I'm coming back to your branch tomorrow. You and I going to be working together again. She had hoped it would have been enough to get Sakura out of her funk, but the girl just nodded her head and continued to play with her food. Anko nervously glanced at her engagement ring. She wanted to tell Sakura even more news, but now was definitely not the time to tell the girl that she was getting married. It would be like rubbing salt into the wound. She wanted to tell Sakura about her engagement quite badly, but opted to wait for a better moment. I should take a shower, I need to leave soon. Anko stood and then went to the bathroom. Sakura was absent-mindedly circling the spoon. Her mind struggled to form coherent thoughts. She didn't know what it felt like to be dead, but she knew that the feeling that was running through her now was as close to death as possible. She felt like giving up on living. It was getting harder and harder to hold on to any kind of hope she may have had to this situation. If Naruto had cheated on her, then she would have left him in a heartbeat. She was sure of it. How could she expect him to forgive her? How could she ever expect him to give her another chance when she would have most probably not, if he had cheated on her. She felt like every thought she made was selfish, that she was only looking at her own needs and not thinking of his. She didn't know what to think anymore. It was time for Anko to leave, so here they stood, Sakura by the front door, and Anko a step away from her. Sakura, Anko called softly. Sakura looked at Anko emotionlessly. Anko chose that moment to hug her. I know you're hurting, but please look after yourself. Do it for me. Promise me, Anko said softly. I promise, Sakura said. She felt a twinge of guilt for making Anko worry about her so much. Okay, I'll call you later. Remember you promised me, Anko said seriously. Sakura nodded her head. It will be tough, but you have to hang on, okay? I don't want to get phone call telling me that my best friend killed herself. Please don't do that to me, you know I don't like to cry. Anko said in a fragile manner. She hardly ever showed this side to anyone, but Sakura was an exception. Sakura's eyes softened when she heard that. She didn't realize that there were so many other people affected by this other than Naruto and herself. I won't do anything stupid, Anko, Sakura said honestly. Anko nodded her head and said her goodbyes, then she promptly left in her car. Sakura came back into the room and immediately went to the couch. She flopped on it, and just stared at the black television screen. The place wasn't truly clean, but at least it wasn't a huge mess. She didn't know what to do next. She didn't feel like watching TV. Work would be tomorrow, but she felt less than enthusiastic. All of a sudden she had an epiphany. The marriage was as good as over, all depending on Naruto, but it would be impossible to live with all the baggage that she was leaving unattended. The least she could do was fix the mistakes that were possible. Naruto still had to give her a chance to make up for her infidelity. But that didn't mean it was the only thing she had to make right of. The familiar sparkle of determination shone in Sakura's eyes. There would be time to wallow in self-pity later. Right now she had pressing matters to deal with. Sasuke-kun, I bought you a little gift from my trip. It's in the front pocket of my bag. Ino Yamanaka said from within the bathroom. Sasuke looked from his vantage point, on the bed, and saw Ino's travel bag. He had been surprised when Ino had come home, from her 2-month business trip, yesterday. He was very lucky that he wasn't in bed with Sakura when she showed. She didn't know about the affair and he preferred to keep it that way. A part of him felt guilty for cheating on his own girlfriend, but another part of him justified his actions as a man fulfilling his needs. Ino had left to go on her trip to China, leaving him with urges that needed to be sated, and Sakura was just the person to help. He actually enjoyed her company, and the sex they had greatly outweighed the sex he had with Ino. The blonde girl liked making love in a special way, but the hot, rough sex he had with Sakura was so good that he often forget about Ino altogether. He knew Sakura was married, but he didn't really care about that. She fulfilled his sexual needs and that's all he really wanted from their kind of relationships. She didn't look like the type of person to tell her husband, so he was content with continuing the affair behind Ino's back. He shrugged, men had needs and Ino just wasn't there. That did not mean he wanted her to find out, however. He loved her, he loved the control he had over her, he loved how devoted she was to their relationship. She called him almost every day when she was in China. On a number of occasions he had to convince Sakura that it was just a friend. Well, he couldn't have sex with Sakura now, maybe if he was discreet, but now that Ino was back he had to be a lot more careful. He went to the bag and opened the front pocket. He took out a box and he could already tell that Ino had brought the gift from China. He opened it and saw a slick bulk suite that looked quite expensive. Sasuke had to admit, Ino had a knack for fashion. His musings were cut short when his doorbell rang. He put the box down and made his way to the front door. When he opened it he was shocked to see Sakura on the other side. Sakura? Sasuke asked in shock. We need to talk, Sakura said seriously. Not now, I'll call you, Sasuke whispered fiercely. No, you will not be calling me anymore and we will talk now, Sakura said determinedly. She could see that he was very apprehensive, but she couldn't tell why. Sasuke was about to refuse but he was stopped. Sasuke-kun? Who's at the door? Ino asked as she made her way out of the room. She was wearing a tank top and sweatpants, her hair was still wet from taking a bath. Just a friend from work, Sasuke said evenly. He had to remain calm, or Ino might suspect something. A friendo. Hi, it's nice to meet you. I'm Ino Yamanaka, Sasuke's girlfriend. Ino looked at the visitor with a cheery smile. Any friend of Sasuke was a friend of hers. Sakura looked at the blonde in shock. She hadn't expected anyone else to be here, and she was even more surprised that Sasuke actually had a girlfriend, who he was cheating on with her. She brushed the thought aside and decided to greet back. Sakura Uzumaki, Sakura said with a smile. Well, come on in, any one of Sasuke's friends are welcomed, Ino said happily. Sakura nodded in thanks and made sure to avoid the Uchiha's gaze. She knew he was looking at her intently. Sakura sat on the couch and steeled herself. Would you like anything to drink? Ino asked. No, thank you. I came to Toto talk, Sakura said. Sasuke stared at her with intensity, silently asking what this was about. Oh, okay. I'll leave you two then, Ino said as she parted to one of the many rooms. Sasuke quickly checked to make sure that Ino was out of earshot before addressing his other lover. What's going on, Sakura? Why are you here? Sasuke asked quietly. Sakura made sure that he knew that she was dead serious before she started speaking. Whatever you and I shared is over. I'm not doing this anymore, Sakura said with finality. Sasuke looked at her indifferently for a while and then scoffed. That's what you said the last time, and all it took was a little Yuki loving to get you straight. Bastard. Sakura was struggling not to draw into her rage and keep calm. She had been through so much shit to deal with an arrogant prick. Just what did she see in him anyway? I'm warning you, Uchiha. This affair ends here. Sakura hissed with narrowed eyes. And if it doesn't? Sasuke inquired with a bored yawn. I will tell Ino about us because I'm quite certain you've left her oblivious to it all. She was not above playing dirty, especially if someone couldn't take a hint. If she was going to make amends with her husband, then she did not need possible repercussions like Sasuke coming around to bite her in the ass and ruin her life further. Sasuke's jaw tightened at the threat. He loved Ino and he was a man who was used to being in control. The fact that he was being threatened at all did not sit well with him. You think you can just walk in here and order me around? Sasuke questioned blazingly. TCH, that's exactly what I'm doing, isn't it? Sakura said complacently. Nobody pushes me around. Don't forget I can tell your husband about your dirty little secret too. He was growling now. How dare this woman mess with an Uchiha? I already told him, and my marriage has never looked more bleak. So stay away from me or else. It wasn't my fault that you decided to tell him. You shouldn't make your problems mine. Is that what this is about? Your marriage is in shambles and you felt like taking it out on me? That's your doing. I never told you to tell your husband about us. He could see that she was restraining herself from up and attacking him on the spot. But she needed to face facts. It was her doing, her mistake, and he wasn't going to follow suit with his own relationship. Oh yes, I know exactly what I did and I'm paying for it. I'm pissed off and angry. Trust me, you don't want to mess with me at the moment, Sakura huffed. Sasuke smirked. I actually find that sexy. Sakura glared at him and suddenly stood up. I never want to be involved with you again. Then you're going to be disappointed. We still work together, Sasuke said condescendingly. Sakura's mouth formed a thin line and she scowled at the arrogant bastard in front of her. Keep your distance, or there will be severe consequences. That is a promise of a lifetime, and with that she made to leave. Using her husband's mantra reinforced her resolve. She would do whatever it took to make Sasuke suffer if he so much as sniffs the same air as her. Sasuke looked on with a frown. He had never seen Sakura so serious before, and that did not fit well with him. She was hot and great to be around. He didn't want to lose that between them. He didn't want to lose her yet. It took some time, but Sakura had finally made it home. She was exhausted. That was something she did not want to go through again. She felt sorry for Ino, she didn't deserve that. But that's what happens when you cheat on a whim. Sakura laughed mirthlessly. She still felt hollow. Her actions today did nothing to fix her marriage with Naruto. The empty house was a painful reminder. Her determined eyes once again glazed over as she made her way and flopped on the couch. She felt numb again. The emotions going through her were all numbed by the guilt. It was so painful to remember the look on Naruto's face when she told him about sleeping with another man. The hurt and anger she saw will be forever burned in her memory. She suddenly realized that tears were flowing down her face. She made no effort to stop them. She felt so empty, so defeated, so alone. Like I deserve, she whispered emotionlessly, as if she was in a trance-like state. She saw something from the corner of her eye, and when she turned to look, she saw the telephone. There was a beeping red light, indicating a message that was left by the answering machine. She didn't feel like moving, but then she remembered that Anko said she would call. She went to the phone and clicked the red button. There was a beep before she started hearing voices. Sakura? This is Ms. Senju. Do not forget about tomorrow's meeting. I know how you don't like those kind of things, but it is procedure. Bye. Hey sweetie, I hope you're feeling well. I get that you're not picking up the phone because of everything that's happened, but don't do anything stupid. I love you, okay? Oh, it's Anko by the way, but I'm sure you already knew that. Well, I'll see you tomorrow at work, bye. Sakura-chan, it's mommy. Your father and I are having a wonderful time in Hawaii. Thanks so much for the trip. I knew we raised you right, ha ha ha. Anyway, I hope you're well and enjoying yourself with Naruto-kun. I want lots of grandkids, oh, gotta go. Your father's waiting to go to the beach. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye, sweetie. Sakura's head whipped to the phone, and she stared at it wide-eyed. She could never forget that voice. I just wanted to let you know that I'll be there in about 2 hours. Sigh. I don't even know why I'm even telling you this. Soil Sakura was already going through the call history, even as the call continued. She was desperately searching for the time of this specific call. The entire world was deaf to her. She didn't even bother listening to the rest of what was said. Her hands shook from nervousness as she raced through all the calls. When she was sure she found the right one, she looked at her clock and realized that the call was made an hour ago. Naruto was coming back. Such a simple statement, but it made her feel like she was sinking in quicksand. Naruto was coming. Naruto was coming. Naruto was coming. It was like a mantra that brought her mind into complete bewilderment. For the past 10 minutes all she did was stare at the phone. Then it finally hit her. Oh my God! Naruto was coming home. It was a revelation that brought her into excitement and fear at the same time. She looked around and gasped. The place was a mess. Naruto couldn't come back to a dirty home. She dashed to the cleaning utensils. Naruto was driving calmly, but his mind was racing. Shikamaru had advised against going back, but Naruto had enough of the hotel experience. He was taking a big risk in going home, but he had promised Shikamaru not to make any hasty decisions when it comes to his marriage. He felt a lot more calmer. The time away from Sakura did him a world of good, and spending time with good friends also helped. He was still not going to forgive her, he was still mad at her too, but thanks to Shikamaru's therapy, however short it was, he could at least control his emotions. Up to a point. Flashback. You're not serious, Shikamaru said in surprise. He was with Naruto at the hotel and watching him pack his things. I can't live in a hotel forever, man, Naruto said as he continued to pack. Yeah, but it's too early for you to go back, Shikamaru implored. The sooner the better. I'm fine, Shikamaru. I feel way better than yesterday. I'm sure I can handle this, Naruto said with conviction. You need space. Being in the same building as Sakura isn't going to end well, Shikamaru said seriously. Don't worry, I'll create space, Naruto said. I hope you know what you're doing, Naruto, Shikamaru said in resignation. Me too, Naruto whispered as he took out his cell phone. Shikamaru said his goodbyes and left Naruto alone. Naruto never took his eyes off the cell phone. After a while he started dialing a number. Flashback end. He approached his house with indifference. He parked his car and made his way to the front door with his bag. When he opened the door, he was surprised. The place looked clean, spotless, and that only meant one thing: Sakura was an emotional wreck. He had seen the behavior before. When Sakura's cousin died, she cleaned the house repeatedly until he had to force her to stop. He brushed off the feeling of guilt. He had nothing to feel guilty about. Everything was her fault. Naruto. It was said in a whisper, but Naruto heard it loud and clear. He looked up and found himself staring into green eyes. Sakura shifted nervously. Those normally bright, radiant, azure irises were cold and emotionless. She felt like crying all over again. Welcome home. She struggled not to choke on her own words, but it was very difficult. Naruto could tell just by looking at her that she was different. Those normally determined and assertive eyes looked weak and afraid. Her body posture was that of nervousness. To put it simply, Sakura looked like she had given up on life, like he cared. He made his way into the house and passed her without giving her any acknowledgement. He could actually feel her cringe, like he had actually hit her. He may be mad at her, but he would never hit her. That didn't mean he would let her know that. He went to the living room and saw food already on the table, which surprised him greatly. I thought why you might be hungry, so I made you something to eat. She felt so pathetic. She sounded like a stuttering schoolgirl with a crush. Naruto never said a word as he looked around the house. He could feel Sakura's eyes on him, but he didn't care. Shikamaru said that he needed space between them so he could think clearly, so right now he didn't care about Sakura period. I'm sleeping on the couch, he announced monotonously. Sakura's mouth formed a thin line. He didn't even make an attempt to touch the food she worked tirelessly to make perfect. Naruto walked to the bedroom and took out some extra blankets from the closet. He came back into the living and made a makeshift bed with the couch. Naruto. Naruto turned to Sakura, who was on her knees in front of him, with her hands together, and with tears flowing down her face. I'm a horrible woman. I'm a horrible wife. I betrayed your trust in our marriage. I took your love for granted. I don't deserve anything from you, but if you wish to punish me then please do. Hurt me, make me suffer, make me feel how you feel. I love so much Naruto, and I'm so sorry. Please, I'm begging you, please don't leave me. Sakura cried out the last part desperately. Her body shook from holding back the sobs that were desperately trying to come out. Naruto's demeanor never changed, but on the inside he was surprised with how broken Sakura seemed. Well, he was broken too. Hit me. Curse my name. Use my body at your leisure. Just please. Please don't leave me. Sakura sobbed. Their emotions were just too overwhelming to control. Naruto's eyes began to waver the more he heard the desperate pleas, but he remained unmoved. What about your other lover? Naruto sneered. No. I told him I wanted nothing to do with him. I'm married and I made a terrible choice in judgment. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but please give me a chance to earn it. Naruto looked away from her and thought of something. What if I had an affair myself, huh? Would you be okay with that? While you're home waiting for me I'd be fucking another woman to my heart's content, knowing full well that you knew what was going on. You would know I was having sex with her the whole time. Naruto screamed in anger. Sakura winced at the shout and the image of Naruto with another woman. If it will make you happy. Would you be okay with that? Naruto repeated. No, but I will endure anything for you, Sakura said honestly. Again Naruto was caught off guard. He didn't expect this when he came home. He did expect Sakura to beg for his forgiveness, but the length the girl was willing to go to earn it threw him for a complete loop. He glared at her. Why should I even believe anything you say? You probably cheated on me as soon as I left this house. No. Never again. Sakura said seriously. What's the bastard's name anyways? Naruto asked. Sasuke, but I will never do that to you again. I promise. Sakura shouted. See, that's what you don't get. The damage has already been done. Whatever you say cannot be trusted, Naruto said emotionlessly. Sakura looked down in shame. I need some space and time to think. Don't bother me. Naruto made his way to the couch. He laid on it and covered himself with the blanket. He turned his back on the kneeling Sakura, signaling the end of the conversation. Sakura silently cried. She felt like she'd been stabbed 100 times over. She deserved far worse than this, and she would take everything he gave her. There was only a minuscule amount of hope. He hadn't said he was divorcing her, all he said was that he needed time to think. She still had a chance, a very small chance, but Sakura clung to that prospect like a lifeline. She would give him as much time as he wanted, as much space as he wanted, as much freedom as he wanted. It would hurt like a bitch if he cheated on her, but if that was what he wanted. But all gloves were off in the infidelity department. She shakily stood up and made her way to the main bedroom. She would have offered the area to Naruto, but she already knew that he would refuse. As soon as she was at the door, she looked back and the sleeping blonde longingly. I'll do anything for you, anything. I'd kill myself before I betrayed you again, she whispered and then went inside the bedroom. The door closed with a soft click. Naruto only seemed asleep, but he was wide awake. He could only hold it in for so long before the tears started falling. He was so lucky Sakura had left. Otherwise she would have possibly seen the inner turmoil raging in his eyes. He heard what she said and didn't know what to feel about it. His emotions were still a mess. He didn't really know what to do. He knew full well that he wasn't ready to be home yet, but he just acted out on whim, a feeling. How stupid was that, now that he was here and had seen Sakura? He was torn between shoving her apology back in her face and getting a divorce, or to at least giving it a few days to be around her and then figure out what to do from there. He was always a genuinely nice person who believed in second chances, but this was too much, even for him. He was just at a loss, so he decided to rest on it and see what tomorrow brings. Sakura woke up with a start in the morning. She heard the shower turn on, not the one in her room but another. She looked around and noticed that Naruto's travel bag was still beside her bed. Her eyes were glazed and unfocused from sleep, so it took her a while to register the fact that Naruto was still in the house. When she did, however, her eyes immediately shot open and she quickly looked at her nightstand. The clock read 6:30 in the morning. Naruto always had to go to work early. She quickly rubbed her eyes and got out of bed. She immediately went to the kitchen and proceeded to create an early breakfast. She rarely made this type of effort when her marriage was stable, but she needed to do anything to please Naruto, anything to earn his trust. She knew that she couldn't earn his forgiveness so easily. At this moment it was borderline impossible. She wanted to start with the things that he liked, she wanted to do the things he enjoyed, but she had to be very careful. If she made a mistake, one wrong move, then this marriage was as good as over. She had to force herself to calm down at the thought. This was utterly ridiculous. She was normally the one in power. She was normally the one who was assertive and always got her way. Now look at her, reduced to nothing more than a desperate woman, who was hell-bent on keeping her man at all costs. She didn't know what to do. This kind of situation was so foreign to her that she was lost. She didn't know how to fix things between them. How to save her marriage. Although she wasn't the one to seek help, she could think of nothing else but that. She could hear Naruto approaching and she quickly straightened herself. She was still in her pajamas and hadn't done her hygienic morning routine yet, but she still tried to look presentable. She saw him come into the kitchen and started. Good morning, Naruto, she greeted softly. Naruto was surprised to see Sakura awake. He hadn't even counted on the fact that she would be waiting for him in the kitchen. He always knew Sakura as a heavy sleeper. In the past he would always leave the house without waking her, not before kissing her forehead. His job was quite demanding, he had to leave his house much earlier than she did. Seeing her awake brought him into alertness. He looked on and could see she prepared breakfast. I made you breakfast. I know how early you leave for work, Sakura stated when she saw his eyes shift away from her. So is this the part where I say, oh thank you honey, how sweet of you. The sarcasm was truly biting and Sakura had to force away a shudder at his tone. No Naruto. Why you don't have to say anything, Sakura whispered. This was literally her nightmare. The Naruto she knew would never act this way with her. It was a bitter reminder of the mistakes she couldn't possibly take back. Whatever, I'll get something on my way to work. TCH, not like it matters to you, huh? Naruto sneered at her. Sakura bit the inside of her mouth to stop the tears. This couldn't be happening, this had to be a mistake. No, it wasn't. She felt so awful. Naruto seemed to be drifting away from her with every word they spoke to each other. I love you so much. Whatever you do, whatever happens, matters to me greatly. You mean so, Muhle? She was stopped with a hand. Tell me something. Don't you think it would be easier for us to get a divorce? I want your honest opinion, and a good reason with it. She could tell that this was very important, and her answer could possibly mean the end of everything. She gulped nervously, and racked her brain for the right things to say. She couldn't afford to make a mistake here. Their marriage was hanging by a thread and stupid excuses would only make things worse. She struggled to form coherent thoughts. To guess this marriage isn't worth it then. He had hoped to hear something that could possibly help with this mess. His mind was a lot calmer, and he felt much refreshed after a shower. He wasn't angry right now, he will always be upset, but he wasn't angry. He was more weary than anything. The emotions, the thoughts, it was just all weighing him down. He didn't know what to think of the marriage. He had hoped that Sakura would have at least give him something, but no. He whipped his head and looked at her weirdly. No? He asked incredulously. What the hell did that mean? I don't think this marriage deserves a divorce, Naruto. We've been through so much together, all starting from high school. I remember the days we would spend together, even if it was friendship in the beginning. No matter how indifferent I acted towards your crush over me, I really felt flattered that you could find wonderful qualities in me when I couldn't even do it. When we started dating, I felt so happy and lucky that I had you as my boyfriend. She saw him look away, but she still persisted. You were always there to support and love me, even when I tried to push you away. Do you know why I was so excited in marrying you, even when I acted like a bored girlfriend at time? Naruto remembered that time quite clearly. Even if Sakura valued the relationship, she made it a point not to act too excited that they were actually dating, and at times he doubted that she liked him in that manner at all. When he proposed to her, however, she squealed so loudly that he thought his ears were going to pop off and promptly glommed him. She screamed yes so many times that he thought she had lost her mind. She would prance around and boast on the fact that she was the luckiest woman in the world. She told everyone she knew about her upcoming wedding, making a very big deal out of it. Naruto had been confused in her sudden change of attitude. He even asked her about it, and she just waved off his concerns with kisses. It's because I fell in love with you even before the proposal. When you proposed to me, with a candlelight dinner and beautiful music, I couldn't help but say yes. Well, not before I tackled you. She bullshit at the thought. You made me realize what a lucky woman I am to have you in my life. You're so romantic. You make life worth living, Naruto. You make every day special for me, and I can never thank you enough for bringing my life to such fulfillment. That's the reason why I don't want to lose this marriage. It isn't about any money. It isn't about disputes. It's because of the fact that I love you too much to lose you, Naruto, and I'm so sorry. Naruto looked at the ground. It was a lot to take in. She sounded genuinely sincere. I know I broke our vows when she didn't want to bring up the incident. When you cheated on me, Naruto said quietly. Yes, I'm so sorry for that, but if you give me a chance, just one chance, I promise to be faithful. I promise to put you first before anyone else. I don't deserve your forgiveness, and I don't deserve to ask anything of you. If you choose to end our marriage, then I will respect your decision. I am just begging you for another chance to be the wife you deserve. I will always love you no matter what you decide, Sakura said sincerely. Naruto looked at her sternly. Why should I believe anything you say? Naruto asked seriously. I could go on and tell you that it's because I'm telling the truth, but that wouldn't be good enough. It's all up to you, Naruto. I can only prove to you that I'm telling you the truth if you give me a chance, Sakura said, silently pleading. Naruto looked at his watch and realized that he was behind schedule. He looked at Sakura again, and then at the breakfast. He quickly took a slice of toast from a plate, and made his way to the door. Enjoy your day at work, Naruto, Sakura called when she saw him make for the door. Naruto stopped just before he left. His back was to Sakura, but she heard everything he said next. I'll think about what you said, and with that he was gone. Sakura sighed. That was pretty difficult. It could have ended up much worse. She was glad he was actually considering what she said. It could only mean that she was starting to get through to him. It wasn't enough, however. She knew that talking would prove nothing unless she acted. She would wait for his answer, however long it took. Right now she needed to get ready for work. When she made it to her workplace, she expected a lot of things. She expected people to start calling her a whore or slut. She expected people to sneer and glare at her. She expected a lot of things, but not this. People were acting like they normally did. No one seemed to spare her a glance of contempt. She was confused as she walked through her office floor. People were greeting her with sincere smiles. She was getting nervous. Was she being set up for something horrible? She could tell that a lot of her co-workers had glints in their eyes. The walk to her office was taken in silent caution. Something was not right here, and she dreaded what exactly it was. She made it to her office and hesitated. The feeling in her stomach increased, and she was afraid of what she might find in her office. She sealed herself and opened the door. At first her office seemed empty, but she yelped in surprise when she felt hands cover her eyes. Guess who? Said a low, but distinctly feminine voice. Sakura rolled her eyes, even though they were covered. I don't know. Everyone in this firm isn't this childish, and there's only one person I know that can sneak up on me like this, Sakura said calmly. Oh really? Who could that be? The voice whispered huskily in her ear. Sakura shivered from the tone. Cut it out, Anko, Sakura said annoyedly as she removed herself from the woman. Anko giggled at the girl. Oh come on. It was totally fun. Sakura rolled her eyes again, but did offer a small smile. Oh my god! You're smiling? Anko gushed. Shut up. Sakura giggled. Anko always had a way of making her laugh. Well, on some occasion anyway. So I take it that things are working out between you and Blondie? Anko asked with a grin. Sakura's smile immediately vanished. Not even close, Sakura said sadly. Anko grimaced and mentally kicked herself for creating an awkward atmosphere. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring it up, Anko said with a sad frown. It's okay. He came back yesterday, Sakura said softly. And? Anko prompted in curiosity and worry. Well, it started off terribly. He hardly talked to me. He doesn't trust me at all, and it's hard to be around each other. She looked at the ground. Can't blame the guy, Anko said distractedly. Sakura flinched at that and just exhaled. Yeah? So are you guys? She really didn't want to bring this subject up, but she had to know. What? Sakura asked curiously. Are you getting a divorce? Anko asked nervously. No, not yet. He said he'll think about it, Sakura said. Really? Wow. Anko said in astonishment. What? Sakura asked confusedly. He must be really considering your future together if he's going to think about it, Anko said happily. So? Sakura said with a frown. Oh come on, Sakura. It's pretty obvious from my view. He is still in love with you, Anko said excitedly. I think you're wrong, Anko. After everything I did, I doubt he could really love me like he used, Sakura said sadly. I'm not saying that he's head over heels in love, but I still think it's a fundamental love that developed over the years. You knew each other since high school. It's hard to sever ties like that with a long history, Anko said. Sakura was surprised to hear that as she stared at Anko wide-eyed. You think that our marriage still has a chance? Sakura asked uncertainly. In my opinion, sure, Anko shrugged. Thanks, Anko, Sakura said with a grateful smile. Anything for you, sweetie, Anko replied easily. So how long we're going to be here for? Sakura asked curiously. Don't know, oh shit. I forgot to report to that old hag. Anko groaned. Hey, show Ms. Senju some respect. Sakura said sternly. PSSHH to you crazy. She's old. You know what I don't get? Anko started with a thinking pose. What? Sakura rolled her eyes. She just knew Anko was going to say something stupid. She's like 50, right? Why the hell does she look like she's in her early 30s? Don't even get me started on her. Get out of here, Anko. Sakura cut off the crazy girl's rant before it got any more detailed. Sometimes she couldn't help but think of Anko as a pervert. Yeah, sheesh. I'll see you at lunch, Anko said as she left. Sakura sighed. She briefly wondered if Sasuke was around. If he was, then he had better stay away from her. She had already formulated a number of plans to deal with him if it came down to it. Her musings were stopped by a knock on the door. Come in, Sakura said. The door opened, and in walked a woman. Shizen, what's wrong? Sakura asked when she noticed Ms. Senju's assistant. Hey Sakura, it's time for the meeting, Shizen informed. Oh thanks, Sakura said as she hurried to the meeting room. She had forgotten all about it, and she felt so embarrassed. Yo man, got an extra pencil? Kiba asked as he made his way into Naruto's office. Why are you even asking that? We don't even design anything anymore, Naruto said irritably. Kiba shrugged. He had no other excuse he could use to visit Naruto without bringing up the incident. Why are you really here? Naruto asked. I'm just checking up on you. God knows what you must be going through right now, Kiba said. For the last time, dude, I'll be fine. Naruto said. Well, Temari told me to tell you that you can stay at her place if you need space from Sakura, Kiba supplied. The hell? How did she know? Naruto asked alarmed. Dude, she's Shikamaru's fiancé. They live in the same house. What do you think? Kiba said bluntly. Stupid Shikamaru, Naruto muttered. Look dude, she cares about you, we all do, Kiba said seriously. I know, thanks, Naruto said. We should go out, you know. You could meet other people. There are plenty of girls out there, man, Kiba said. No, Naruto immediately replied. Kiba was surprised with how final the statement sounded. I know it's hard to trust anyone after what happened, but trust me. There are good girls out there who won't betray. Enough, Naruto said sternly. Oh, why? Kiba asked curiously. You don't get it. The only girl that I've ever loved, in my entire life, is Sakura, Naruto said while looking down. Well, forget about her. She had her chance and blew it, Kiba said with a frown. Naruto chose not to say anything on that. I gotta go. I'll see you later, Kiba said and left Naruto to his thoughts. I need to talk to you. Sakura had wondered when Shikamaru would approach her. To think that it had taken until lunch break before he spotted her. She was a bit surprised with how subdued he looked. There was no anger nor mirth. He just looked bored. Anko had looked at her with concern, but Sakura waved her off. Sure. Where would you like to talk? She was prepared for this very moment. Shikamaru was one of Naruto's closest friends. It only made sense that he would confront her, just like any good friend would. She wasn't going to pretend like she didn't do anything. There was no point in denying it. He motioned for her to follow and led her to a corridor that was away from cameras and people. Sakura looked around, realized that this was a perfect place for Shikamaru to take out his anger without anyone finding out. She turned and stared at him seriously. Well, I'm guessing by now you already know why I brought you here, Shikamaru said lazily. Not really. You'll need to clarify for me, Sakura said seriously. Alright. Naruto told me, Shikamaru said. Told you what? Sakura asked in mock confusion. That you cheated on him. Shikamaru could already tell that she was creating a mental barrier. She probably thought he was here to berate her. It wasn't such a bad idea. I see. So is that why we're here? Are you going to hit me for hurting Naruto? I'd advise against it, Sakura said emotionlessly. Why is that? Shikamaru asked with a raised eyebrow. I can easily charge you for assault, Sakura replied. Shikamaru looked at her for a moment, and then shrugged his shoulders. I'm not here for that. Although it does sound tempting. Naruto would kill me. What do you mean? Sakura asked with a frown. Never mind. I want to know why you did it, Shikamaru said. I don't have to explain anything to you, Sakura said coldly. Perhaps, but do it as a favor. Have you noticed the fact that no one seems to be aware of what you did? Shikamaru asked. So you didn't tell anyone. I don't care, Sakura said. Try to hide it all you like, but I can see it. The emotions playing out. I can see your inner turmoil like an open book. I'm not having this conversation out of some need for revenge if that's what you think. I just want answers, Shikamaru said. Sakura's eyes wavered. She had never really acted coldly towards Shikamaru before, but she was afraid of what he might do with what she said. I promise that this conversation will just be between us. No hitting or shouting. When Shikamaru promised something, he always stuck to it. Sakura bit her lip and looked sideways. I'm one of Naruto's best friends. I knew him for a long time. I'm upset with what you did, but I'm more open-minded to this situation. I just want to talk, Shikamaru said. I'm sorry for what I did to him, Sakura whispered. Why did you do it? Shikamaru inquired yet again. It was a stupid mistake. It just happened. She shrugged helplessly. She couldn't exactly explain it to someone that could potentially harm her. Do you regret it? Shikamaru asked in a strange manner. Of course I do. I love him. I just wish it didn't happen, Sakura said sadly. But it did, Shikamaru said seriously. Yes. It did happen. Is that what you want to hear? I cheated on my husband. I feel so guilty about it. I regret every day I lied to him. All I want to do is make things right by him. I want to show him how much he means to me, how much I love him. Is that what you want to hear, huh? The rant of a desperate woman. I don't need your pity. I don't care if you hate me. All that matters to me is Naruto. Sakura screamed angrily. Shikamaru didn't even seem fazed. Sakura's breath was haggard. She had lost control of her emotions and acted out. She looked at Shikamaru, and saw that his face was unreadable. Did you get it all out? Shikamaru asked after a pause. Sakura looked at him confusedly. You may not be my favorite person right now, but you are still a part of Naruto's life. Do you really regret what you did? Shikamaru asked evenly. For the love of God. Yes, I regret everything. Sakura shouted. I wonder if you would cheat on him again? Fuck you. Shikamaru was surprised by that. He looked at her, and he could immediately tell she was struggling not to cry. It's a legitimate question, Shikamaru said boredly. You think I don't know that? You think I don't know what he will always be thinking of me, if he even gives me a chance? You think it's easy for me to deal with this, knowing every day that I betrayed the man I love? Fuck you, Shikamaru. I don't need your shit. Shikamaru analyzed her carefully. She felt a little self-conscious at that. He was looking her over, making her even more nervous. After about a minute he started. If you regret it as much as you say you do, then prove it, Shikamaru said. How? Sakura shouted. Shikamaru didn't reply and started walking away from her, but he had some parting words. If you betray him again, I will make your life a living hell. They don't call me a genius for nothing. Shikamaru's words drifted off the walls. Sakura stared at his retreating form in complete bewilderment. What the hell just happened? She drove home still in confusion. The conversation she had with Shikamaru was gnawing at her, but there was another issue. Sasuke had not shown up at work today and alarm bells were ringing in her head. What happened to the Uchiha? She didn't really care, but it was still strange not to see him. She got home and looked around. Naruto would be home in 2 hours. She quickly set to fixing anything out of place and making sure the house was in tip-top condition. She bit her lip at the thought of making dinner. Will Naruto even bother to eat it? It wouldn't be beyond him to disregard her food altogether. Sakura shook her head. She had to make him something to eat. He was her husband. Even if he made no attempt to eat her food, she would have at least tried. After some time she could hear his car outside and quickly put the finishing touches to her meal. She was dressed in her pajamas. She was sure that if she dressed in anything provocative, then Naruto would immediately dismiss her as nothing more than a slut. She heard the door open and quickly scrambled to see her husband. Welcome home, Naruto, she immediately said as soon as she saw him walk through the door. Naruto nodded and walked past her. She held her breath as she watched him pause, looking at the food. He stood still for a long while before ignoring the food again. Sakura struggled not to voice out her disappointment and frustration. He went to their bedroom. He came out wearing pajamas of his own. Sakura just felt useless to it all. Things will never change between them. The marriage was as good as over. All the effort she was making was pointless. She didn't even deserve him anyway. When she saw him put the blanket on the couch, she knew there was no point in trying to talk to him. She began to shuffle to the bedroom. The feeling of defeat stung greatly. Sakura. It was said softly, but Sakura whipped to him and stared in surprise. She waited for something else, but when it seemed like Naruto wasn't going to say anything, she pressed on. Yes, Naruto? Sakura prompted, trying her best to hide her eagerness. Naruto looked at her and then looked down, seemingly in deep thought. He clenched and unclenched his hands. The waiting game stretched on for minutes, but Sakura willed it out and waiting patiently for Naruto to continue. Naruto suddenly sighed and then looked at her. I need to say this. He sounded like he was talking to himself. Sakura was getting scared. This could be the revelation that she had dreaded for the past few days. I thought about it. It was hard because a divorce seems like the best decision right now. Sakura's body started to shake when she heard that. No, after everything that's happened, I know things between us can never be the same again. You broke our bond. Sakura looked petrified the more she listened. It just kept getting worse. No. So I think it's best that we cut our losses and end it here. No! Sakura screamed at the top of her voice, greatly shocking Naruto. Please, Naruto. Please don't this. I love you. I love you so much, and I'm so sorry. Please, Naruto. Sakura begged and pleaded desperately. Naruto sighed and then looked at the sobbing girl sternly. I wasn't finished. Sakura continued to cry, but she stared at him and waited to hear what he had to say. I wasn't talking about our marriage. I was talking about this constant evasion. I always wanted this marriage to work and I'm not sure if I want to be married to you right now. When he saw Sakura ready ball again, he continued, but I am willing to give it a try. Silence reigned in the house for a good minute. When Sakura got over her shock, she looked at Naruto. What? She asked carefully. She needed to make sure that she wasn't hearing things. I said I'm willing to give it a try. I'm willing to give you chance. You're my wife. Naruto said carefully. Sakura stared at him with hope. Naruto, she whispered longingly and then flung herself at him. She held on to his neck tightly as she cried on his shoulder. Naruto was at first shocked by the act, but when he got his wits back he quickly removed Sakura's arms away from him, and quickly stepped back. He did his best to ignore the hurt look Sakura sent him. I can't touch you, he whispered painfully as he looked away from her. Sakura felt really hurt with what he said. Even though it was expected, it still felt like a slap to her face. I just can't, Naruto said. She nodded meekly in understanding. It was too early for anything of the sort. Thank you so much, Naruto, Sakura said gratefully. It's not like I'm taking you back into my arms, Naruto replied critically. I know, but thank you so much for the chance, Sakura said. Well, you should also be thanking Shikamaru, Naruto muttered, but Sakura heard it. She was shocked. Shikamaru had something to do with Naruto giving her a chance? Why though? After what she said today, she didn't expect Shikamaru to care at all. That lazy genius seemed to confuse her profusely. She didn't understand him at all. Well, I am getting some sleep, Naruto said awkwardly and laid on the couch. I promise, Naruto. I'll be a good wife. I'll make it up to you. I won't ever betray you again, Sakura said lovingly. Naruto didn't respond and just shifted on the couch. Sakura was not deterred, however. She finally had a chance to make things right. Maybe Anko was right all along. She felt so happy right now, but she dared not show any excitement. She looked at Naruto's sleeping form and only had one last thing to say. Good night, Naruto, and thank you again, Sakura said softly as she made her way to the bedroom. She quickly took a glance at Naruto one final time and then closed the bedroom door with a soft click. Naruto woke up in a cold sweat. He had a nightmare. Well, nightmare would be an understatement. It was truly a horrific sight. Sakura cheating on him with another man. The man in the dream was faceless, of course, but it did little to hide the painful betrayal as he bared spectacle to it for every agonizing second. He couldn't take his eyes off of the disgusting act. He could hear every grunt and moan as the two had their way with each other. He watched as another man plowed into his wife, and he felt absolutely sick. He tried to drown out the dream, but the memory was still too fresh. The heart-wrenching image mocking him to no end. He couldn't do this. He couldn't just sit back and let Sakura off scot-free after everything that he was going through. She cheated on him for almost a month. It was bound to happen again. He just knew it was. He made a mistake. He shouldn't have given her a chance so readily. He could have summed it up to the fact that he was not in his right mind when he did. He could have added that Shikamaru had an influence to it. But all the lazy genius told him was to think carefully about his future, and not to make hasty decisions so soon. It seemed like he did, and now he felt cold to the bone. He felt like he had absolutely no dignity whatsoever. He wiped his forehead and got up from the couch. That fucking dream. Stop thinking about it. He gritted his teeth to focus on something else. He forced back the bitter tears at the memory. He will not cry for this. He deserved better than to be reduced to a crying mess. That's when he realized something. What exactly was the second chance about? What exactly did he want fixed? Not the marriage. It will be a long time before he could give this marriage any sort of effort of repairing. That is, if he didn't decide to end it. In all honesty, he didn't even know what to think. Was this even worth it at all? All the heartbreak and bitterness. Was he willing to go through hell just so he could mend what Sakura had shattered? The more he thought about it, the less he felt like he made the right decision. She's a fucking cheater. She doesn't deserve anything. He agreed with that. He deserved to be happy. Sakura didn't. No, that's not right. No matter how angry he was with her, he wouldn't like her to suffer for the rest of her life. But these were his feelings and he had the right to feel the way he did. He was hurt, angry and broken, all because of her. A part of him appreciated the fact that she had the guts and told him about the affair. If it wasn't for that, then he would have been oblivious to it all. The other part hated Sakura for telling him. He didn't know if he could ever trust her again. 3 weeks of infidelity is impossible to overlook. The thoughts flooded his mind. When was she going to cheat again? When would she take advantage of him for her own selfish desires? Why the hell did he even give her a second chance at all when it was plain obvious that she didn't deserve it? Because I love her, those words hurt more than anything because they were actually true. He was at a crossroads between love and hate for Sakura. They were emotions that he struggled to control, and that made him more angry. If it wasn't for Sakura, then he wouldn't be having this emotional turmoil. She absolutely ruined him. He didn't think he could love the way he used to ever again. Love was slowly becoming a feeling he didn't understand nor wanted any part of. He didn't know how long he just stood there staring into space. But his troubled thoughts were soon cut with a soft voice. Good morning, Naruto. It was actually a bit weird for him. The Sakura he knew was loud and cheerful, but the person he was looking at now was shy and timid, like she was afraid at any moment she would be attacked. Would serve her right. Sakura took in his cold eyes and could already tell that he was not going to be as receptive as she thought. She knew it. He still didn't want to be in the same room as her, let alone look at her. It just wasn't fair. Her eyes flashed angrily. He said he would give her a chance. Didn't he mean his word? She stopped herself cold. She realized she didn't even deserve a second chance, which left her very much on edge. Had he taken it back? Had she made a mistake in thinking that she had a chance to fix their marriage? Right now it seemed to be the case. I'm going to take a shower, Naruto said coldly and started walking away from her. Sakura's mouth formed a thin line. She knew that it was hard for him, being in the same presence as her. She also knew that he was keeping his emotions inside so he wouldn't lash out on her. That made her upset. If the marriage had any chance of salvation, then he needed to open up to her. Naruto, please talk to me, Sakura said gently. Naruto's head whipped to her, and she took a step back from the glare he sent her. About what, huh? Talk to you about what? Naruto shouted. About how you feel. I just want to make sure that you're alright. She realized she must have said something wrong when his eyes only narrowed at her. Since when did you care about me? Naruto asked coolly. This was a complete change of attitude from the Naruto she saw yesterday. He was angrier and he questioned her care for him. She did not like the latter. I do care, Sakura said seriously. Maybe for yourself, but not for me. You just as selfish as ever, Naruto dismissed, but Sakura was far from finished. Damn it, Naruto. I love you. Sakura started. She was slowly starting to lose herself in her own whirlwind of emotions. Well, you sure know how to show it, Naruto said spitefully. This time anger radiated in her eyes as she looked at her husband. Fucking hell. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for what happened. Can't you see I'm trying to make things right? Can't you see I'd do anything for your forgiveness? Why would I tell you about the affair in the first place? Sakura screamed. I don't know. Maybe you just felt like ruining my life. Naruto sneered. Look at me. Does it look like I'm happy with all this? Does it look like I'm content? I feel horrible. I feel like shit. Do you think you're the only one suffering? Sakura spat in anger. Naruto paused at that as he took in her disheveled form. He would admit that she looked like crap, but it was her own doing. That's not my fault, Naruto said more calmly. No, it isn't, but it shows that I really do care about you, Naruto. If I didn't, then I wouldn't have told you about the affair, Sakura said. 3 weeks? That's too much for anyone. Do you have any idea what I had to go through those 3 weeks, huh? I had to defend you from anyone who accused you of cheating, to find out that they were actually right. Naruto trailed off in sadness. Sakura was ready to cry at this point but just sniffed. I don't know how many times I can say that I'm sorry. You can say it until you're blue in the face. It won't change a fucking thing. His anger was back again. Then what the hell do you want from me? Tell me. Sakura cried out in anger and frustration. I just can't look at you without seeing him, Naruto said after a pause. Sakura was mortified when she heard that. She knew he was suffering, but she didn't realize to what extent. She put a hand to her mouth and choked out a sob as tears flowed down her face. Well, he had finally confessed something that had plagued him ever since the revelation. He still didn't know how to feel about any of it. Maybe this was a mistake. Sakura knew full well what that meant, and she refused to let it end that way. This marriage was most likely shattered, but she refused to leave the broken pieces at bay. She loved him and nothing was going to stop her from showing it. Naruto started walking away when he felt something bump his back and then slender arms encircle around his waist. He knew Sakura was crying with the wet stains he felt on his back. I love you, baby, and I'm sorry for everything. You deserve to be happy, and that's all I want for you. It was hard for her because she couldn't look at him. All that matters to me is your happiness. I made a horrible and stupid mistake, and nothing I do could ever change that. Naruto turned and looked at her tear-stained face. I promise to be faithful to you until the end of time. Sakura sniffed. Naruto could tell that the whole ordeal was tearing at her from her eyes, but I did his best to ignore the pain. He was about to retort when she cut through. You're right, you know. I am being selfish. Naruto's eyes widened at that. I'm trying my best to prove to you that I love you, to prove that I'm sorry. I just want this marriage to work. I want us to be happy again. Yes, I'm being selfish in thinking that, but it's not only about me. I'm thinking of you too. She looked at the ground. I just want to be your wife and give you happiness and love. Naruto was torn in what to say, so Sakura continued. If you truly think that we each have no future together, she bit her lip and looked up at him, then I'll give you what you want. I feel so horrible for what I did, and if this is what it takes to ease your pain, then I'll give you what you want. Anything to make you happy. Naruto looked at her with a confused frown, silently asking what she was on about. I'm filing for a divorce. Those words hit Naruto harder than he understood. He actually never thought that he would hear it from Sakura of all people. He briefly wondered if this had been her plan from the beginning, but upon looking at her eyes he already knew that it must have been tearing her apart. Or you could do it. It doesn't matter who does it, I guess. I guess we'll have to discuss who gets what, huh? Well, I didn't marry you because of the money, so don't worry about me taking anything from you. I think the necessities are important though. I'll need my possessions and stuff. You can keep the presents you gave me. I don't deserve them. Mom and Dad are gonna be pissed, but what can you do, right? I'll tell them it was all my fault, so don't worry about them hating you. Compensation. Yeah, I think compensation for the infidelity would be good for you. It won't make up for anything, but it's the only thing I can think of to give you since you won't accept anything else. Just don't ask for too much money from me, ha ha ha. The tears didn't stop for Sakura. She rambled on as if she was in a trance-like state. Her eyes seemed unfocused and glazed, looking right past him. Even when she laughed, that sounded painful to the blonde. Naruto was stunned with what he was hearing. Naruto couldn't help himself, he pitied her. Something had to be really wrong with him to feel pity for the one who hurt him, but he did. She really looked like she'd pretty much given up on everything, especially considering her proposal for her divorce when she was trying so hard to not let the marriage end. I just really hope your next wife will treat you better. God knows that you don't deserve stuff like that happening to you again. Haha, look at me. I just can't stop crying, Sakura said in mock joy. Her heart felt like it was shattering the more she spoke, but she didn't care. She didn't care about anything anymore. It was a bit too much for Naruto to take. On the one hand, he wanted to hug and soothe her pain. On the other hand, he just wanted to leave her here to rot. He could see something alarming. He could tell that Sakura was slowly losing her mind. Sakura looked at him and gave off a helpless shrug. Well, I can only wish you happiness and nothing else, Naruto. Sakura said with a grin that looked so out of place and forced that Naruto struggled not to flinch. Naruto had enough. He quickly took hold of Sakura's shoulders and forced her to look at him. She stared at him wide-eyed at first, and then quickly averted her gaze, but it wasn't fast enough. Naruto saw how dead her eyes were to the world. Even the hurt was there. He felt his heart ache. If you're going to hit me, then please just get it over with, Sakura whispered emotionlessly. Stop it, Sakura. Enough, Naruto rasped out. It was too much for him. No matter how much he despised her, it was just too much to see her this way. Sakura looked at him again, but she said nothing. I just can't take this. I hate you so much. Even when he said that, her eyes gave nothing away, but I love you as well. I'm just so confused and angry. I hate this. I hate it all. Sakura used her hand to caress his cheek softly. She didn't stop even when he shivered. Then do what's right for you. The words were easier to voice out now that her emotions were starting to lock up. She would give her heart to no one else. She was slowly coming to terms with her impending divorce and her future life of solitude. She will not seek another man again. It was all over. Naruto stood straight and looked at his watch. He was late, but that was not the problem right now. He could easily miss work from time to time. The real issue is what Sakura had just said. Do what's right for him. Everyone seemed to be pointing at the divorce like it was the easiest decision in the world. They didn't know what he was going through, they didn't have to deal with a cheating spouse, so their advice was mute. Shikamaru was more of the person to listen to. He was a marriage therapist, so he knew what he was talking about. Coming back home was indeed a hasty decision. Giving Sakura a chance was a hasty decision as well. He knew he would always be thinking of the possibilities of her cheating on him again. Hell, it might be bound to happen, but then again, it might not. She could be faithful. The only conclusion he could draw from his observation is that he didn't know what might happen. Sakura could cheat on him again, or she could be faithful. The fact is, he didn't know what the future held. Sorry, I am keeping you from work. I'll see you tonight, unless you choose to sleep somewhere else. Her voice was devoid of any emotion. It was as if she didn't care, but he knew better. He knew her better than she knew herself. No, I'll go later. We need to discuss a few things, Naruto said. Like the divorce? Sakura raised an eyebrow. That was another thing he couldn't fathom. She was willing to make such a sacrifice for him. He just felt more conflicted than ever. Yes, among other things, Naruto said, and then made his way to the couch. Sakura did not move from her position and stared at him impassively. Sit down, Naruto ordered seriously from the couch. Sakura's eyes bored into his, but he saw her waver and avert her gaze. He guessed she was trying and failing to be assertive. She walked and sat on the couch, which was opposite to him. Not that he minded. Yes, Naruto? Sakura said after a pause. Naruto thought about what he was going to say. It seemed quite difficult, but he had made up his mind. We're not having a divorce, not yet. Naruto looked at his lap as he racked his brain for more to say. Sakura was very surprised to hear that. Now that she looked at it, a divorce was a plausible solution. The fact that Naruto was rejecting the idea made her really confused. She still wanted it to work between them, but after everything she didn't know if she even deserved a second glance from him. She didn't know what to say, so she waited and listened. There's a lot to be done if we ever going to have a marriage. Right now it seems that our marriage is frozen, Naruto said after some thought. Sakura nodded at that. It was understandable. I just keep thinking to myself. Will you do it again if this marriage continues? Will you stab me in the back and this time not tell me about it? You know I can't trust you after what you did. Naruto looked at her in the eye. I know, Sakura said softly, and you know I can never look at you the same way again. He could see that her body started to tremble. Yes, she said shakily. I always be thinking of the other guy, or if you're gonna run away with him or something, Naruto said. I'll never cheat. You can say that now, but it can easily happen again. He saw the familiar sadness radiate from her green eyes. Sakura bit her lip. Then again I might be wrong, I too just want you to be faithful, you know? I just want someone who won't betray me, Naruto said. He kept his tears at bay and remained strong. I will be faithful, Naruto. It is a promise of a lifetime, Sakura said with conviction, using one of Naruto's phrases to emphasize her point. Naruto looked at her sternly. His eyes ice cold. Trust is hard to earn back, Sakura. I do not forgive you. I do not like you. I can't even stand the sight of you. Are you willing to put up with that? Naruto asked seriously. Like I said before? Anything for you, Sakura said seriously as well. I'll hold you to that. I'm not giving you any other chance than this one. It isn't a chance at our marriage. It's just a chance to see where all this goes. If you betray me again, trust me, I will listen very closely if any of my friends have a hunch this relationship is finished, Naruto said with finality. I agree. She briefly wondered if she should set the same rules on his part, but thought better of it. She was curious, however. Will you be seeing someone else? She asked in trepidation. Naruto looked at her weirdly. He definitely didn't expect that kind of question from her. She sounded apprehensive, but not willing to voice her disagreement. Then he remembered why. She was willing to let him sleep with another woman if that was what it took to be with him. He wasn't that underhanded. He had morals and principles, even if he didn't follow some of them. Sleeping with another woman was definitely not on his to-do list. No, and I expect the same from you, Naruto said as he stood up and went to the shower. I promise, Sakura said as she saw him enter their bedroom. She flopped in the couch. That was exhausting. All these different emotions that were playing in her mind, and she didn't know which one to grasp. It was really hard for them both. She saw the effort Naruto was making and felt sorry for him. He shouldn't have to put up with her. She was, however, glad as well. The second chance wasn't some sort of rushed choice. He still had feelings for her, even if some of it was hate. She felt sad at the thought. He would have never hated her before this. It just made her regret her actions all the more. There was still a lot that was left unsaid. She remembered Dr. Inoichi's show and what he said. Relationships can survive, but it wasn't going to be easy. She just knew that things could only get worse between them if they could ever get better. They still had to resolve the issue, and so far they haven't done that. Naruto may have given her another chance, but that did not mean that the marriage could survive. There had to be something more. Naruto came out of the bedroom wearing an orange shirt and black pants with matching shoes. He looked at her, and she couldn't help but look away. She didn't know if it was from fear or shame. I'm going to work. I'll back at the same time as usual, he said, and then made for the door. Have a great day at work, Naruto-kun, Sakura said after a thoughtful pause. Naruto said nothing and soon left the house. Sakura looked at the blank television and realized, to her dismay, that this relationship couldn't possibly survive without the necessary effort. It couldn't survive with the effort of Naruto and herself alone. She needed help in keeping this relationship intact. She needed professional help. You want me to help you? Shikamaru asked, looking around the vacant office to make sure that no one would be listening in on them. Yes, you're the closest friend Naruto has, plus your background in therapy. You're perfect for us, Sakura stated calmly. Okay, I get that you interrupted my lunch to give me this proposal of yours, but why exactly is she here? Shikamaru questioned, the slightest hint of confusion present. I'm her bodyguard. Mess with her and I'll make you scream my name, Anko said, her arms folded, her form leaned back on a near wall, face stern and serious. Sorry about her, I don't think she's kidding though. Whatever, it's not like it matters much. I can't help you, Shikamaru said. Why? Sakura sputtered, confused and frustrated. For the very fact you pointed out, therapy is in my past. I'm not qualified to deal with your squabbles. It could end pretty badly if my efforts are centered in the wrong direction. You should look for someone else, Shikamaru said. They can't be anyone else. You're the person Naruto puts his trust in. You're the only one we can count on, Shikamaru. I don't think Naruto would be willing to seek therapy with some random stranger, Sakura said. What makes you think he even wants counseling? I mean, yeah, he told me that he was gonna try to see what there really was with you, but I don't think forcing him into therapy is a good idea, Shikamaru said, frowning ever so slightly as he thought about the dilemma. Then what can we do? Sakura quarreled. You're an adult, aren't you? I think you're entitled to your own decisions, especially Naruto. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Shikamaru paused. Look, let me put this way. As an adult we have this little thing called pride. Now you can understand that we like our independence immensely. The thought of taking care of ourselves is riveting. Guys and girls love the experience of solving their own problems. With all this present, just imagine what would it feel like being told what's right and wrong. You'd feel controlled, like your independence values very little. Pride may sometimes be a burden, Sakura, and this instance is no different, Shikamaru surmised. Sakura's shoulders sagged. She understood what he meant. Something like therapy seemed very daunting. Adding Naruto seemed very unlikely. He had never liked being called weak. His orphaned life was very trying until he was adopted, and Sakura feared that he would not submit to therapy because of that very belief. Please, Shikamaru, I'm begging you, please help us. There's no one else I can turn to. She ignored Anko's cough and continued, and this proves that you're perfect. You analyze things that others can't see. Hell, I'm sure if it wasn't for you then Naruto would have surely left me. Shikamaru looked at her in surprise. What makes you think that I had anything to do with Naruto staying with you? I just know. Well, it was more like he gave himself away when he warned her not to hurt Naruto again. I'm willing to pay you if that's an issue. Look, I'd love to help you, but, for the love of all that's good, shut up and help her already. You act like this goddamn hero that can't even put effort into his own words. Shit, if you're gonna act like a smartass then why don't you back it up? Anko spat, having had enough of the back and forth subject. I forgot she had a mouth, Shikamaru boredly spoke. Fine, keep your money. If you can get that blonde idiot into this then I'll give it a shot. Just don't expect this to be easy. In fact, I'd advise to expect the worst more so than you've experienced so far. Well, that was reassuring. She didn't need him to tell her of the impending hell she would soon be a part of. She knew exactly what she was getting into. If she had to fight tooth and nail to keep Naruto, and show him her love then she would gladly accept any sort of torture. Finally! Anko exclaimed dramatically, can we please get something to eat now? My stomach's fighting me, and you know what happens when it wins. I really don't want to know, Shikamaru muttered, face a mask of horror of what the woman was implying. Sure, Anko, Sakura said, quickly turning to address the lazy genius. Thank you, Shikamaru. Just make him happy and we'll be even. That's my goal, Sakura reiterated with resolve. Uzumaki, a monotone voice said, opening a door and seeing the office's one occupant. What is wrong with you, Gaara? I keep telling you to call me Naruto. I mean we're cousins. Naruto said irritably. That may be so, but I find it more interesting to call you Uzumaki. Uzumaki. What the hell? Kiba muttered as he too entered the office. Gaara's acting even more strangely than usual. Dude, he's right next to you, Naruto said, smacking his head at Kiba's idiocy. You think I don't know that? Hey Gaara, don't you have some designs to finish? Kiba questioned. I have completed them all and wish to speak to Uzumaki, Gaara stated. Alright, tell me when you're done, I also want to speak with him, Kiba dismissed as he went out. So, Naruto made sure to look passive. What's up? It wasn't as if he didn't like Gaara, but even if they were close and worked together Gaara preferred solitude, choosing to seek conversation when it suited him. Naruto had agreed to the terms without complaint. Temari has told me, Gaara said indifferently. Naruto silently cursed Temari. Was she going to tell the whole world about his nightmare? She's also inviting you to dinner. I think we can both agree that she won't take no for an answer. Damn it, this isn't what he needed right now. Temari was the last person he wanted to see. The girl was overprotective towards family, especially her favorite cousin. He had lived in the orphanage for a large period of time before he was adopted, a little late in his opinion, into a family. He wasn't blood related to his cousins, but they still treated him like family, especially Temari. No doubt about it, she wanted him to come over as a means to find out if he indeed left Sakura. As soon as she found out he didn't, well, he didn't want to continue that train of thought. Just great, she's gonna chew me out, ain't she? Naruto muttered. You'd be lucky if she did. She seemed very upset yesterday. I think she's mad at you. Gaara said plainly. What makes you think that? Naruto asked. Her words were, you better invite that blonde piece of shit to dinner. I can't believe he's still with that fucking bitch after what she did. I'm gonna kill him first, and then I'm going after that whore. Gaara repeated, doing a terrible imitation of his sister. Naruto gulped. He knew all about Temari's temper. The few times he'd been in the brunt of it weren't pretty memories at all. He cursed Shikamaru for involving her in this. Of all the people to tell about his troubles, why did that lazy genius have to pick Temari? So are you going to her dinner? Gaara questioned. Naruto struggled to see if the redhead cared or not. Yeah, Naruto said with a sigh. Tell her I'll be there and tell her to be nice. You're asking for a miracle to the latter, Uzumaki. I wish you well for tonight, Gaara said, promptly leaving a sulking Naruto on his seat. Naruto grimaced. Tonight was going to be hell. Hey, are you bringing Sakura with you? Gaara peeked through the door that he had not yet closed. Naruto scowled at his cousin. So, you get to call Sakura by her name and not me? Is she coming or not? Gaara ignored the question. Are you kidding me? Naruto said, wide-eyed. She'll die before she even steps a foot near Temari. Gaara shrugged and then left again. Naruto sighed again. He took out his phone when he felt it vibrate. He looked at the message that was sent. Hey Han, I'm with Anko at work. I think I'll be back home a bit later. Ms. Senju is giving us an assignment on a homicide case. Don't worry, I made sure to partner myself with Shikamaru. Love you, Sakura. Well, Naruto conceded, at least she's trying. He sent her a message, affirming his knowledge that she was busy. Afterwards, he looked at his watch, ticking away the time before he met with an irate Temari. Just when things could look up. Damn. Sakura? I think you've got an admirer, Anko softly said, and then continued to drink her coffee, crossing her legs and laying on a black couch. They were both in a small room filled with organized and sorted foods, accustomed sofas for approximately 15 occupants. A sign at the front indicated the room as the break room. Sakura looked in the direction that Anko inclined, and silently hissed in anger. Sasuke was back. He was seated on a nearby sofa, conversing with a fellow employee. Sakura was amazed she actually didn't notice him, but he seemed to notice her, if the glances he sent were any indication. Sakura turned her head sharply away, anger evident. She tried keeping her emotions in check, failing miserably in the endeavor. Just when things were starting to look up, Sasuke just had to come back. Why couldn't he die in a ditch or something? So that's him, Anko said, the knowing in her voice holding no dispute. She could easily tell by Sakura's behavior that the man looking at her was not favorable, and Sakura had never shown animosity such as this to anyone. Anko made to get up, but a hand on her lap stopped her. No, leave him alone, Sakura said firmly, frowning. No way, Anko mirrored her frown. I'm gonna teach that bastard about messing with married couples. He wasn't the only one involved. I am just as guilty as he is. Are you gonna beat me too? I just want to forget it and move on, Anko. Fine, you win this round, but I promise if I ever cross paths with that prick, it ain't gonna be pretty, not in the least. Sakura knew that talking her out of it would be stupid. Fine, just don't get yourself into trouble. Anko grinned. Now when have I ever done that? Sakura rolled her eyes. Remember the incident when you wanted to get your done. Okay, Anko hastily shushed her. I won't get myself into trouble. Geez, you can't just say stuff like that in public. Right, is that a ring on your finger? Sakura sputtered. How come she didn't notice it before? How long has that engagement ring been there? Oh, Anko breathed, as if she was just realizing it was there too. Oh? All you have to say is oh? I thought we were best friends. We are, I just couldn't tell you about it since you know. This time it was Sakura's turn to seem sheepish. Oh, yeah, so who's the lucky sucker? Hey, I'll have you know that I'm quite a catch. I know, I'm just teasing, Anko. Anko smiled. Good. Naruto's gonna love it, being the romantic that he is. Oh, as my maid of honor I hope you know what's expected of you. TCH, be a lazy good-for-nothing like you were? Sakura questioned, incredulous. Shut up, I so helped you out in that wedding, you're only highlighting the bad stuff. If giving tips to Naruto about the perfect sex positions for our honeymoon is what you call help, I would have preferred not. Pisht, it still worked out, didn't it? So, what do you say, will you be my maid of honor? Please, pretty please? Anko queried, putting her hands together, and donning a puppy dog pout. Wait, give me a moment, Sakura said calmly, then promptly squealed and crushed Anko in a hug. Oh my god, my best friend's getting married. I never thought it was possible. Anko giggled at Sakura's reaction. It was these moments that made Sakura such a great friend, and Anko would never lose that for all the riches in the world. You gotta tell me everything about this guy, he better not be a stripper. At that, Anko's guffaws were contagious. None of them noticed the onyx eyes that were watching intently. Naruto glanced nervously at his watch often. He was driving through the busy streets on his route to meet Temari-chan for dinner. Shikamaru phoned and said that he would be joining them a bit later. Gaara pulled out at the last minute for mysterious reasons even, so he was stuck with being in the same room alone with Temari, an angry Temari. He groaned at the thought. This was not going to end well. He had actually hoped Shika would back him up against his fiancée, but all hope had been tragically dashed with the abandonment of both parties. Even Kankuro was busy with something else, although he refused to tell anyone what that something else was. Maybe this was a conspiracy, a means to make sure that Temari did in fact get her hands on him before anyone else. He wouldn't chalk off the very thought, but it could do little to stop the inevitable. He was approaching Temari's home. It had been confirmed that he would arrive at 7, converse if he could call it that, and wait for Shikamaru to arrive, which wouldn't be long, he hoped, and then they could all have a nice, peaceful dinner. Yeah, he knew all about how his luck sucked. He parked his car where he would usually when visiting, carefully situating the vehicle near the sidewalk parallel to the building. The night sky made the scene more foreboding. Dark clouds made the house akin to something that was ripped off from a cheap horror film. Okay, calm down, Naruto self-berated. It's Temari we're talking about, she's not that bad. I'm so dead, Naruto groaned, banging his head on the steering wheel, and jerking back when the horn blared. He looked at the front door in frantic panic. He just gave his position away. Lord have mercy on his soul. Nothing was happening, however. Bewildered eyes were fixed on Temari's front door. She wasn't coming to see him in, which meant she wanted him to make himself known by knocking, giving her plenty of time to instill fear and trepidation, and he couldn't help but curse yet again. He walked very slowly to the door, body alert and ready to bolt at any given chance. Every step seemed like an opportunity to hightail it out of there, but that would only warrant his death. Once he reached the door, he gulped, glancing over his shoulder to make sure no surprises caught him off guard. He raised a trembling hand to the woodwork and steeled himself before sealing his fate and knocking. At first, nothing happened, but then Naruto heard feet shuffling. Oh no! Last chance to make a break for it. But no matter how much he tried, he was as stiff as a board, and then it was too late. Hey, Temari-chan! Got your invite and here I am. So, when are we gonna eat? Naruto hastily chuckled, failing miserably to mask his nerves in front of the sand-haired woman. Temari took her sweet time measuring him, seemingly pleased at his distraught demeanor before looking around, as if to spot something else. Hello, Naruto-kun, she said slowly, the surprisingly sweet tone hiding deeper malice he knew how to pick out during the years. I see you've come alone. Naruto noted that her tone became all the more sweeter with the proclamation, genuine in fact. Yep, he didn't know if bringing Sakura into this conversation would be wise, considering Temari's evident animosity toward his still wife. Come in, she said, making space for him to enter. Naruto mentally gulped. It was too late to change anything. The moment he stepped on Temari's porch, his fate was sealed. He sauntered inside, already followed by his cousin. Shikamaru will be arriving a little later than I had intended. Are you still willing to wait a while? It will give us plenty of time to talk. And there it was. She knew that he knew of her intentions. She didn't hide them at all, glowering at him as she gestured to the dining table. Naruto sat down stiffly, Temari's steely gaze making him act mechanically. She looked like a time bomb waiting to explode. Naruto really didn't want to have to deal with curses and flying fists. Temari could be as violent as she could be sweet. Temari sat at a seat across from the blonde, never taking her eyes off him. Of all the times she had known her cousin, she never pegged him for a stupid, gullible moron. He was so accomplished, he was self-spoken, and he never backed down for what he believed to be right. So it was safe to say that she was confused and furious with him. Would you like some water? Temari asked, standing up and strutting to the kitchen. She kept her tone even, never biting. Naruto scratched the back of his head. Sure, it's been a while since we last talked to each other so personally. How have you been, Naruto-kun? Naruto sighed, there wasn't any point in hiding anything. You know how I've been. Actually, no, I know what you've been doing. I don't know how you've been. Naruto took in a breath. She was setting him up alright, waiting for him to say just the right word for her to attack. I've been miserable, okay? These last few weeks have been torture. Shika should have already told you about it. Temari nodded, now glaring. He has. So why are you questioning me when it's obvious? Because, dear cousin, I can't fathom your behavior. Meaning? Coming back to him, Temari banged his glass of water on the table and took her own seat. After everything I've heard, things still don't make sense to me. Figures. What do you want me to clarify? He tersely asked, having enough of the charade. The fact that Sakura cheated on me, or the fact that we're still together in a sense. And finally, Temari let her facade drop, openly sneering in contempt while gritting out, both, if you don't mind. Naruto frowned at her. He could visibly see her body trembling from anger. But if he had to be honest, that was not his problem, either was it hers. That has to do with me and Sakura, Temari-chan. He knew he was digging himself a bigger grave the more he spoke, but what right did she have? This didn't concern her at all. Temari's glare turned feral, her face becoming pink. I know that. But what I don't get is why you're still with that bitch after she cheated on you. Temari stopped him from defending with a hand. And she didn't even do it once. It was weeks. Like I said before, Temari, this doesn't concern you. Are you fucking stupid? She screamed, livid, standing so fast that her chair toppled over. How can you be so freaking blind? How can you just look the other way when that fucking slut is probably still cheating you? Naruto grimaced, the reminder of his doubts causing him to remain silent. Temari was not finished, however. I can't believe you. I can't believe you do this to yourself, Naruto-kun. All those times you've probably worked your ass off for a future with your wife. She had her way with another guy, maybe more. Naruto was starting to feel small in front of the fuming sand blonde, but he glared back with just as much venom. What right do you have to judge what I do? And for your information, I've talked to Sakura about this. She's regretful. Temari banged her fist on the table, causing it to rattle with the force. No, she's not. Naruto stared at her, stunned with her outburst. You think I haven't seen stuff like this before? Temari spat, not caring who heard her. She doesn't care about you. She doesn't. Temari reiterated. She's just scared of losing something that she took advantage of. It's a classic psychological trait. She's just afraid of losing the power she had over you. What makes you think she has any power over me? You treated her like God's damn gift to the world. You pampered her like she was your entire reason for leaving. Are you saying what I did was wrong? Temari took deep breaths to calm herself. Once she was stable, she continued less forcefully. I'm not saying what you did was wrong back then. You're a good guy, Naruto-kun, and it hurts me knowing that you're still with her after everything she did. I'm sorry you feel that way, Temari-chan, but it's not as easy as just leaving her. Why? Naruto looked at her in surprise. A part of me still cares for her. It's just, I wish I could have changed the past, you know? I wish I could have done something to prevent all this. There's nothing you could have done. It was her choice. Please, Naruto-kun, be strong and stand on your own 2 feet. You don't need that bitch in your life. Naruto leveled her a look. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop calling her that. Temari gaped at him, taking her toppled seat and crashing on it. You're not serious. You're still protecting her. Look, we're not exactly together right now if that makes you happy. No, I'd be thrilled if you kicked her to curb and let me finish her off. She's a lawyer, Temari-chan. My fiancé is a lawyer, Naruto-kun. Touché. Have you even thought of a divorce? Temari asked, staring intently at her cousin. Naruto had enough. Temari had done her grilling and he was practically fed up with people questioning his intelligence. Temari, if you want me to stay here, drop it. Temari shut her mouth when she noted how serious he was. It forced her to sigh. You better hope I don't see her anytime soon. Temari-chan, I'm home, Shikamaru called from the front door, his lazy voice echoing throughout the residence. Leveling another look at her cousin, Temari stood up. I'll stop for now, but we're far from finished. I hope you know that. Naruto looked away from her. He was evidently still in the process of taking the argument in. He was hauled out of his thoughts by something he never would have expected. Kaya, what the hell is she doing here? Temari, calm down. I brought her here, oof. Let go of me. I'm gonna teach that bitch a lesson. Naruto ran to the front door. What greeted him was a struggling Temari, a resilient Shikamaru, and a fearful Sakura. Sakura? He gasped. Said girl turned to face him. Naruto, Temari, stop struggling. Shikamaru grunted, finding it difficult to hold on to his fiancée. Sakura grimaced from Temari's hate-filled glare. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have come here. Damn right, you fucking hey. Temari sputtered. She continued to struggle as Shikamaru dragged her away from the scene. You guys stay in the lounge. I'll talk to my fiancé, Shikamaru said, forcing Temari into their bedroom. Naruto and Sakura could only look on, awkward silence and all. Naruto sat lazily at the dining table while Sakura occupied the living room sofa. They didn't say a word to each other, not sure where to start. Shikamaru and Temari had been arguing for close to an hour. Temari screamed her lungs out, and there was the occasional clank of something being thrown, but luckily it never sounded like the argument turned violent. There wasn't the sound of a scuffle or fists flying. After another 30 minutes the couple walked out of their bedroom. Temari was much more calmer than she had originally been an hour prior, but she still openly snarled at Sakura. She turned a glare to her husband. Next time, you better tell me when you pull something like this. Otherwise it won't be pretty for you too. Yes, dear, Shikamaru yawned, aggravating Temari further. She huffed, and took a seat at the dining table, refusing to occupy in space shared by the pink-headed bitch who hurt her cousin. Shikamaru continued to stand and noted something. Well, I guess it's safe to assume no dinner tonight? And you're sleeping on the couch, Temari added spitefully. Shikamaru shook his head. Figured as much. But that's fine, I knew what risk I was taking. Look, dude, I've never had a problem with the way you do things. But why is Sakura here of all places? Naruto didn't mean to make it sound harsh, so he was surprised when he saw Sakura flinch and look down. Shikamaru moaned, oh lord, I miss those days when I could just gaze at the clouds. Damn puberty. Get to the point. Temari yelled. Okay, Shika began. The reason I brought Sakura here is because I knew you'd be coming to dinner. I need to speak with both of you. Temari stood up, still furious at Sakura's presence, and doing a damn good job of showing it. I've had enough of this. I'm going to bed. If she isn't gone in 30 minutes, I'm kicking her out myself. With that, Temari left the trio to themselves, slamming her bedroom door shut. Shikamaru sighed. I knew she disliked you, but I never thought it was that bad. Are you trying to joke with this? Sakura asked, perplexed and a little upset. Naruto was having trouble taking things in himself. I don't get it, Shika. Why did you bring us together? Shikamaru focused on the blonde. Well, Naruto, I've got good news and bad news. Sasuke arrived just in time to see that his girlfriend was home. He parked his car in the garage and went into his house using the back door. Striding into the lounge, he was treated to a dining meal. There were candles, flowers, and little assortments of chocolates. Welcome home, Sasuke-kun. Ino greeted jovially, wearing an outlining purple dress with straps, decorated by violet shades of flowers that melted into the alluring outfit. Her makeup wasn't too much, a dash of eyeshadow, prominent pink lipstick, and her hair was straightened, elongated without the aid of a ponytail. Sasuke noticed that she added a dose of her most expensive perfume. If he wasn't so tired, he would have been tempted to ravage her on the spot. Sasuke was caught off guard by the nice dinner. It was definitely a special occasion for him. What's this? He asked. Ino's brilliant smile faltered. What do you mean, what's this? Sasuke fixed her with his usual stoic stare, gesturing to the candlelight dinner. What is this all about? In the back of his mind, he felt like he should have known. But for the most part, he had been focusing on how to get Sakura to realize what they had wasn't bad. So long as no one knew, an affair could have its benefits for them. It was hotter, more passionate sex. The feeling of getting caught would only intensify the arousal. As long as it was a secret, why should they quit? Sure, her husband knows something had been going on now, but if Sakura had any of the charm he was able to see in bed, then that gullible moron would be putty in her hands. She could never control an Uchiha though, anyone but an Uchiha. Ino was rooted to the spot, her sweet face turned completely stony. Uchiha Sasuke, she spat, you do remember what day this is, right? Sasuke was grasping for an answer. But honestly, he felt drained and needed some sleep. Babe, let's not argue. I've had a long day at work and I'd really like to enjoy my dinner. I can't believe this. Now Ino looked mad. Enjoy your dinner, you insensitive asshole. She banged their room's door shut and locked it. Sasuke sighed, now he remembered. It was their anniversary. He shrugged it off in the end. As an Uchiha, he could sway any woman's heart. She'll forgive him soon enough. Now back to Sakura. Counseling? Naruto screamed. Now Naruto, hear me out here. No way, man, I ain't going to no doctor. Naruto, calm down, Sakura coaxed from her seat. She saw this coming a long time ago, but she wondered what Shikamaru was thinking. This was not the place and time to talk about it. Would it help if that doctor was me? Shikamaru asked, genuinely curious. Naruto paused mid-shout, blinking a few times, then falling on his seat. Well, I don't know. Look, I'm sorry to say this, but if you ever hope for your marriage to even have a chance at being salvageable, you need outside help. You cannot do this on your own, no matter how much you want to. Well, I didn't know you wanted to get into counseling again. It's more therapy now, Shikamaru corrected. Naruto wondered if there was a difference, but chose not to ask. Sakura waited in bated breath, as she saw her husband thinking to himself. No matter how much she wanted this, it was also his decision to make. If he was even against his own best friend helping out, then the chances of finding someone else were very slim. Naruto continued to process the options handed to him. Even though Shikamaru and him were close, this did not sound like a good idea. In fact, this could backfire on all of them. I assure you that I'm well prepared for this, Shikamaru said. This is a very serious matter and I'll treat it as such. Naruto blinked once. How much? Sakura was confused on why Naruto would ask that, until she realized he didn't know any part of the discussion she had with Shikamaru. I'm your best friend, dude, so obviously it will be free of charge. Naruto still looked unconvinced. He looked to Sakura. She was staring right back at him. The silent plea to take Shikamaru's offer wouldn't be noticeable to most, but he saw it. She wanted things fixed just as bad as him. He wondered how she could look so compassionate and still stab him in the back. He looked away from her. Sakura saw him frown, sure that it was anger. She was getting very nervous, the inkling of what he must have been thinking about making her feel uncomfortable. So? Shikamaru asked. Naruto thinned his lips. It wasn't just for the marriage. It was for him and Sakura too. I'll give it a try. Sakura was ready to cheer in her seat, but her celebration was roughly halted. That's not good enough. What? Naruto said, caught off guard. Sakura mimicked her husband's shocked expression. Wasn't that what Shikamaru was aiming for? You need to be serious about this. Giving it a try isn't the same as giving it your all. If you want this to work, then you're either in completely or out, Shika said. Naruto frowned at that. He looked at Sakura again. What about you? We've talked about it at work. Sakura said, I'm all in if you are. I'm in. Sakura smiled at him. For the first time in a while, he actually considered what she said without malice. It was a little step forward for them, but it wasn't a bad start. Good, Shikamaru straightened his posture, his visage became serious. Join Sakura on the sofa, because I'm not done yet. Naruto was surprised at Shikamaru's request. He chose to sit away from Sakura for a reason, but once he noticed the no room for complaint look from his best friend, Naruto obliged. The couple sat in uncomfortable silence. One would occasionally fidget or shift. They avoided eye contact the entire time. Shikamaru looked a bit discerning. This is definitely going to take some time. Now, here's how it's going to go. For the next few months, whenever you do therapy, do not look at me as a friend and do not expect me to favor any one of you. From now on, I treat you both equally, as a struggling couple. Naruto was confused. I don't get it. You're saying in these next few months, we aren't friends? Shikamaru shook his head. No, out of therapy you and I are friends, and we won't talk about your seasons ever, but don't expect things to be the same during the actual therapy sessions. I won't be seeing you as any acquaintances of mine, but clients. I expect the same from you. Silence was his answer. Naruto looked like he was still having a hard time taking it in. Sakura seemed more accepting. Make no mistakes, you might grow to hate me and what I'm doing. I've fixed broken relationships many times with strenuous progression, but others could not stand the process. Sakura glanced at Naruto. Upon noticing his troubled face, she gave him her full attention. Naruto, do you really want to do this? Naruto was quiet for a few minutes and then said, I'm having my doubts about this. For one, how can you expect me to just see you as a therapist? We've been friends for years, don't you think that plays a factor in this? Shikamaru nodded. If it's for you, man, I'm willing to take the risk. If you really want this, Naruto, then isn't all the hassle worth it? That was it then. It was obvious Shikamaru took everything into account, and Naruto didn't really trust anyone else with his innermost thoughts, not even Kiba. Okay, I'll do it. Good choice, Shikamaru said. Sakura began, when do we start? Both men turned their gaze on her. Naruto looked like he had been thinking the same thing and Shikamaru smirked. Saturday. Meet me at the park, we're going jogging. Eh? Naruto blurted out. Jogging? Sakura repeated, confused. That's right, jogging, Shikamaru said. What? The couple chorused. Bitch, your time is up. Get out of here. Temari shouted from the bedroom. Sakura scowled and started her own verbal lashing. Listen here, you. It's fine, Naruto cut off, we're leaving. Sakura felt a bit vindicated that her husband found it acceptable for people to degrade her, but she was just tired of so much drama to protest. She stood along with him. Did you come with your car? Naruto asked the pink-headed lawyer. She came with mine. Shikamaru informed. I see, Naruto nodded. I'll take you home, Sakura. See you Saturday then, Shikan thanks. Looking forward to it, I guess. Thank you, Shikamaru, Sakura said. Shikamaru nodded. The couple said their last goodbyes, being extra careful to avoid the temperamental sand blonde. Once they left, Temari opened her room door. Are they gone? Shikamaru turned to her. Yep. Good, get in here. I want my nookie. Listen here, I'm a pissed off woman who's going to fuck the shit out of you. If you don't get in here now, you'll be limping for a week. Shikamaru was quick to surrender. At least this way, he would only be limping for a day. It made him question though. Was there such a thing as a woman raping a man? He brushed it off. Even if such a thing existed, he was more than willing to engage in that sort of role play. Besides, he wouldn't have to do the work. Life was good sometimes. What if Naruto gets cheated on and becomes cold? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel. And leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.